sword fight, fight, fight. Monkey sword fight, fight, fight. Monkey sword fight, fight, fight. Monkey sword fight, fight, fight.
I've never drunk it.
Never.
I've never drunk Iron Brew either.
Never drunk Iron Brew?
How does that work?
That's shocking.
I know, for being
just out of choice now, or is it just?
No, I had a bad experience when I was a kid. With Coke, I was expecting, my child brain was expecting just like water, and I drunk the Coke.
Oh, that's
and that fizziness, like I didn't expect it, and I just went, oh no, never again. So never drunk Coke after that. Never drunk any fizzy drinks. I would have it when I hit like drinking age, which is like 14.
with vodka.
With vodka, that's fine because you're getting drunk and you don't really.
It flattens it out.
Yeah,
It does,
totally.
yeah.
But yeah, so because of that, no fizzy
I
drinks.
had that same experience with red wine.
You thought it was water?
No, when I was younger, I was on holiday. I was on holiday in the south of France, my mum and dad and that, and like it was on a campsite.
Yeah.
But there was like a bar thing in the middle that had like a small supermarket and a stage and shit for entertainment. And I was running about with my pals. I must have been 6 or 7, and I just went sprinting up to the table and grabbed what I thought was my glass of Coke.
Oh.
But because they had like somebody just poured red wine for one of like the weird shaped bottles. I can't remember what the fuck they're called. No, you get it like when you're abroad, you get them in the sort of the vase-shaped bottles.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just fucking tanned this back, what I thought was Coke.
A carafe.
A carafe.
Yeah,
that's it.
well done. Yeah.
Took me a second.
Yeah.
Nah, I knew but I just tanned this drink back, thinking it was Coke, red wine. Like, nah. So I do enjoy a vino now, but I'm not a red guy. Too vinegary. But I reckon that's just the price range of wine that I'm going for.
That could be that.
That's
yeah.
probably, I'm not going past £5.
You can get a good bottle of red wine for $5, stuff that's on deal.
I was going to say, you find the 9, 10 pound stuff.
Maybe I'll need to somebody to recommend me a bottle and I'll maybe get a wee bash.
You should just read the labels. Like a lot of the labels now sort of tell you what the wine's.
Tasting notes and shit.
Yeah,
like that,
well, what it's best to drink with. Maybe it'd be fish.
I think
or
actually, no
meat
tell a
or
lie,
whatever.
I did try some more red wine. It was at Tea in the Park with Matt, and he had a carton of Tesco value. It was like an orange juice carton, but it just had red wine printed on the side of it, and he had about 9 cartons of this for his weekend at Tea in
You're
the Park.
cutting about going, you got any scissors? What? What do you need scissors?
Imagine you get the call from the school, just kind of like, Riley's been to school with a packed lunch. He had red wine in there.
It was
Again?
right next to the black cunt one. I can't be his. He's a
you're
Pinot guy.
You're trying to get steaming on Capri Sun. Like,
It's not working.
Riley's absolutely minced at work.
I remember
Let's go.
was drinking at my mum and dad's house, and we'd ran out of booze, so we ended up drinking Baileys and milk because there was only 2 things we had in the house that would go together.
That's good. That's good.
I told the story a while ago, but back when my parents first moved into the house that I grew up in, the guy before them just had a bar, just left it. So when I turned of age, 14, 15, I just started raiding it. And then toward the end of it, when I got low on stash, there was just a bottle of Kahlua there. So I didn't know what to do with Kahlua. So I remember going to like a block party and just drinking Kahlua straight from the bottle. And people looking at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, shit.
I'd done that with a bottle of Cavassier.
Oh, no.
That was a bad evening.
That's a bad night.
Bad evening. I'm like, okay, seems like that's a fairly decent amount of preamble.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Perth's premier podcast, Monkey Sword Fight, with me, your host, Jordan Patrick, El Regreso, and my co-host, Mr. Michael Dotch, Thick King, Pod Daddy.
Pod Daddy, El Grande Nippers.
El Grande.
The big nipper, Cons man. Word with dots.
Yeah.
This one is shout out to Gals in Monroe.
Blue Steel.
I saw him the other day when I was driving and screamed out the window, and he must get it a lot because he paid me no attention. Everyone must go by and say, "Hey, Gary!" He was just like, "No."
Wait, but can I just nip that as well? Like, I'll nip that because I want to put this out there. Stop waving or beeping at me from your car.
Okay.
No, just in general, right? Because if I've not got my specs on and you're going 30 mile an hour, I don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, who was that? That's going to annoy me because I don't know who it is. Because then the next time you see them, people are never like, oh, I drove past you the other day. It's like, that was you.
I just give a passionate, like a presidential candidate, a strong wave in the air like that, and a thumbs up and a point, and that's what I do.
This
no
is
matter
for
what.
you.
Someone's just beeping at me to get out of the road. Like, get out of the road. I'm like, all right, hey. Word with dots.
Yes.
People with good intentions make promises. People with good character keep them. Gaza Monroe.
That's deep.
Gaza Monroe. Sounds like you had your heart broken there by somebody, man. Thanks a lot.
Andy Mack on the ones and twos, as per usual.
What's happening?
And we are joined this week by singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist Chris Small. How are you, mate?
Very good. How are you?
Excellent, man. Thank you very much for agreeing to be here.
Not at all.
I will again apologise for the lack of professionalism that we realised last night that we had not approached anyone from our list of guests. It was really because we have to record 2 episodes this week because I'm away with work next week. And last night we're like, got fuck all guests.
You made up for it with the water, though.
Yeah,
There we go.
Andy Mack's stepping up the host game.
Yeah.
Do we have ad for this week?
I'm not going to. For our listeners here, just Andy Mack's looking smug. Like, because he killed the game.
Because I know how to host a podcast.
Oh, hey.
So we will shout out to this week's sponsor,
Yes.
Stevie Mack's Skate School.
Yeah. He just sent me a message because I posted the whiteboard of the rundown, and I wrote Stevie Mack ? Because I didn't know if it had run out or not. So he just posted back like Stevie Mack. So that's what it was.
Stevie Mack's Skate School?
Stevie Mack?
Get in touch with Stevie Mack's Skate School on Facebook. All ages and abilities are catered for. Get your child into something new. Do it. Patreons.
Patrons, we're going to live on the wild side again. I'm going to start from the bottom of the list this time. How you guys like that?
Madman.
Chaos.
Keep the police out of here. All right, Stephen Tosh.
Big Stosh.
Big Stosh, yeah. Roddy Bader, Ralphie Roggs.
Can I I see Roddy at work all the time.
Yeah.
Me too.
And the other day I was coming in, I'd went out for a fag, I was going to have a really stressful morning, wasn't thinking straight. And as I walked past me, all right, Jordan, I went, hot rod. In the middle of the thing. I don't know if he heard me, but I was just like, should I have said that?
He doesn't go by hot rod in the doors of that place. Behind the doors of that place. Ralphie Roggs.
Ralphie.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Nate Black. Ian Shepherd. Fraser Rifi.
Reeve Dog.
Davey-
Happy anniversary.
Oh,
to
yeah, I
Reeve
saw
as
that
well.
today. Yeah, happy
Him and his lovely
anniversary.
wife Ashley, so happy anniversary to everyone at Reeve Print.
Yeah. Davey Forrett. Danielle Miller, our newest patronizer. Craig McCaffrey. Chopsticks.
Craig McCaffrey.
Craig.
Not Craig.
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 Who's Craig?
Craig?
Craig.
Craig.
Carry on, please.
Craig McCaffrey. Fuck you guys, man. Leave me alone. Chopsticks. I know how to say that one right. Chopsticks 69. Hi-yo. Callum McLaughlin, Andy Henderson, and Allie Cook. Allie, we're going to go right into feedback.
Right.
Allie pulled me up on saying sword instead of sword because I said the W last week.
Did you?
I was just trying to be posh, I said.
I noticed how
I
like you were the only
noticed
one that wasn't you were the only one that wasn't
knowledge.
drinking last week, and you're the one who's getting pulled up for slurring.
For
his words.
slurring, yeah, I was fucked up. Also, some other feedback. Ali Mackay was listening to our show, and we talked about Trump and how America may want to throw some money behind the NHS. And Ali was saying that he's cost the NHS well over $500,000 with his heart transplant and all that stuff, maybe even more.
Oh, yeah.
So we just got into a bit of discussion about that at work about the cost of things, and so basically he's hurt our pockets, Ali.
Hey,
Joking,
as long as my
joking.
tax goes up. We got some really nice feedback from our very special guest, Chris's big sister Vicky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always forget which one of you is older.
Yeah. She's the older one.
Yeah, so big sister Vicky. So this was really nice. I woke up to this like last Thursday, and I was listening to the latest Mug Sword Fight with just you three on it. First one, a while without guests, and I enjoy the guests a lot. They're super interesting, but this one reminded me how much I really enjoy you three chatting away. Continue to love the pod. Also, I'm back the end of June for just over 2 weeks, and would love to see you. We'd also love to get on the pod, but also would love to see you. So that was very nice because I really enjoyed last week.
It was good.
It was good just to shoot the shit.
Vicky would be good on the pod too.
Yeah.
She's a chatter. She
We'll
loves to
see
chat.
which one of the siblings is going to turn out to a better episode.
Oh, I smell a poll coming.
I can already like throw some dirt.
Oh, I was gonna ask. He offered it.
Yes, hit us with it.
So she says that she's back for like 2 weeks. So she's not back for long. Last time she came back from Beijing, she was back for a whole 2 weeks. Now I'm her brother. Love her dearly. Miss her dearly. I assumed like it's gonna be no problem. Be able to see her, catch up. So like the day she comes back, when am I gonna get to see you? well, I'm busy. Like, what does busy mean? You're here for 2 weeks, you know. So no. I'm and she started listing all the stuff that she was away for doing. So I managed to get her for a hungover breakfast. One for one morning. The whole 2 weeks. She didn't give a fucking.
Yeah, man,
rat's arse about her brother.
she took the love of my life away from me, so I feel you.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're similar boat. Yeah,
It was when they first came back, like trying to get time in that diary.
Yeah.
Was mental.
I couldn't believe I wrongly assumed apparently that
Saying
it was
that, I
fine.
can't even say that because when Matt was back for 2 weeks at Christmas, I just went 2 weeks drunk.
Yeah.
Like it was brutal.
That's the way you got to have a schedule. You got to stick to it.
Oh, yeah.
Include your family members in that schedule.
No.
But you got to have a schedule. You got to stick to it, and you can't deviate unless you have some time that's freed up from someplace. So
She would be a good. I will say she would be a good guest.
yeah, she definitely
she's
would.
very funny. Claire as well. Seems to be everyone from that group of friends is usually good.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll have to get Matt back on as well for like the second birthday, which is coming up.
When's Matt coming home with my ring? God damn it!
Oh yeah. Well, saying that, he's back for Matt's back for like a flying visit for his uncle's wedding in a couple of weeks. Did you bring that bow tie?
Shit, no.
Anyway, Matt's back. He comes back on the Thursday from China and then flies home again on the Sunday.
Brutal.
I know that's going to be. I know.
So that Friday, basically, we will be
So that
celebrating
Friday, the wedding, yeah.
victory. Yes.
I'm going to see if he can get it. Because what we do is because we get the ring, which is made in China. So rather than order it over the internet, Matt just goes directly to the factory and picks one up.
He pulls it off with a 4-year-old kid that made it, and then
Nicks himself a new free iPhone and then fucks off.
I already know what I want for my celebration. I want some like coming to America type celebrations. I want like a lion draped over my shoulders and a crown. I want a scepter. I want elephants that walk me in.
We've been doing this league for 4 years. Mike's been part of it for 2, and he's already been the worst winner we've ever had.
Dan was getting annoyed at one point when I was in the chat. I put like "We Are the Champions" like 4 times in the chat, and Dan was like, "Oh yeah, it was smug victor we have here."
If people talk shit throughout the competition, then you're quite right to act the way you are, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
If
Let's
they're
do
talking
it.
shit the whole way through, then fucking
Thing is,
you bask
no
in
one
it,
was
mate.
talking shit because Mike was at the top from about 4 days in, and then never left. The change. I don't know. We'll get into it another time. It's fine. Anyway, our guest, Chris Small. How are you, mate?
I'm very good.
Thank you for listening to us talk utter bollocks for the first 10 minutes.
Not at all.
Let's see. So we joined by probably another one of Perth's busiest working musicians, next to our very own Andy Mizak.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whenever I see your timeline, you're doing something with. Can I just ask first of all, how many bands and music projects are you involved in right now?
Right now, it's only 2. I really have to think.
Okay.
It's only 2 at the moment.
So that is your own Chris Small.
Yeah, Chris Small, which is officially right now is the Chris Small Trio right now.
I like that.
And Perth's premier funk group. So I think it's what we've been labelled as Bohemian Monk Machine.
I've seen those. I've seen yours once. I can't remember. It was in the green room. It was fucking brilliant, man. Absolutely quality, man. Yeah.
Cheers.
But yeah, so can you think, if you can give us a rough number, how many bands you have been part of?
It's got to be it's between 10 and 15, I'd say.
I remember, last time I was in a band was about 7 years ago, and I think at the time you were in 3 of the bands that were on the Perth circuit at the time. And I'm pretty sure I played a gig one night, and you were playing in 2 of the bands that were on at the same venue, and like it was in the. What did Bar 44 used to be?
Oh, Carina.
The Carina.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I played a gig at the Carina and you played in 2 different bands on the same evening.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I had to cut down on Sorry, because it kept happening. I kept looking at these lists of that bands. I'm like, oh, jeez.
I'm in 3 of these.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do your bandmates ever get jealous? Do they ever go, "Oh,
No,
we got practice tonight. Why are you not with us?" You know?
No, I think it was in the early days when I was in the early days.
I think you're what, 27?
I'm 25.
When I was 12,
25.
I'm 20. I just turned 25 this year. I know.
damn.
In the early days, the amount of bands I was playing in, but not many of them rehearsed. It wasn't really it was professional in the terms of like we wanted to gig, we wanted to record and stuff, but it was never regimented every week rehearsals. You know, it was just kind of whenever we want, turn up. Nobody was interested in getting paid. If we got to create a beer, that was amazing. When you're 15, that's like amazing, you know.
It's still amazing.
Yeah. Couldn't believe it.
Quite happily do that. Like,
Really? And I get okay. God, Karina, that's where the men become boys become men for sure.
I remember I dragged Rachel along to a gig I was playing at, and she got a vodka lemonade, and she was affronted when they poured the vodka out the optic and then pulled out a bottle of Schweppes from underneath the bar that was already half crushed and just poured it out.
No.
And she's just like, the look on her face was just,
Thanks.
she's like, you fuckers better be good tonight.
It was good though. It was that was the training ground. Places like the Carina and stuff. That's where you kind of, because people were honest if they didn't like it, the room would empty or that kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I think it was, and the majority of stuff I was playing was mainly drums, was kind of the main instrument, and then started learning trombone and guitar about the same time. Trombone classically, like in the lessons. My mum said, she's like, you need to get some kind of classical instrument, because Vicky had done clarinet.
Yeah, I remember
I was
saying
going to say,
that.
so yeah, we'll go right back. So you and Vicky are both quite musically inclined. You more so, but Vicky's just got a fucking belter of a voice.
Yeah.
I don't know how good she is on instruments.
We were actually, Vicky was always the more musical one up to a point. Like for all the kind of through primary school and most of high school, she was the more, because she really pursued Fair City Singers, so she was like singing all the time. Then she went into Perth Youth Orchestra, which you had to be good. You had to audition to get into that. You didn't just let any school kid go in that, you know. And I never wanted any of that, because I discovered like Queens of the Stone Age in first year, and like Led Zeppelin, you know, and that was gone, you know. But which is weird, because my mum is not musical, my dad not musical. Like, no, we've traced it, but I've looked back with my granddad. We like sat and looked through our family tree. And there's nobody. I think there's one fiddle player for like 6 generations ago.
They were all fiddle players 6 generations ago.
That's really, because ladies, I've seen you so many different bands, and you always seem to be playing something different. I mean, there's like at that time, I'm pretty sure you were drummer for one band, you were guitarist, and then you were tromboning. Tromboning. So, like,
Is that the kind of show we're having tonight? Is that what we're doing?
Fucking dad patter.
here, man, if you'd have been drinking tonight, you'd have been creasing yourself tonight. Right, so we'll take it back. Can you remember the first time, like you say, so you said you sort of discovered rock and roll, basically. Can you remember the first time you thought, fucking right, this is what I want to do?
I can't. I've been playing drums since I was like 5, and that was just because my mum knew a drummer, and he was kind of doing lessons. It was in the Plough Inn. You remember the Plough Inn?
Oh yeah, Sex Dungeon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
What?
That's where they kept the drums. Actually, would you believe?
Was it? Yeah. That place got knocked. Never got knocked down, but it got pulled up for having like a bondage dungeon underneath it. Yeah.
All right.
Nice boozer too.
Yeah. But so I used to go in so he would like pull the kit up. I'm glad it was just the kit from the basement. And
It's just behind the swing.
Is that a butt plug? I'll get that out of here. We got kids in here tonight. Come on.
I got lessons. But yeah. So he would teach me. We would just set up in the Plough Inn like when it wasn't open, and so that was just a thing that happened. And it was weird because I'm playing drums, and the only influence I've got, as I say, is like my mum, and she was into like ABBA and stuff, which I do actually now have a bit of an appreciation for.
Well written pop music.
Oh, totally, man!
Get,
It's solid gold, like pop songwriting.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's just the formula in it. Yeah.
Totally, but yeah, so playing drums, and then I remember it was more like a chore going to the lessons every week. Learn this, come home, bloody, wasn't really engaging. And just before I kind of started to lose faith in it, my stepdad, my mum's partner at the time, Andy, gave me a Led Zeppelin compilation. And he put on Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin, which is like just Andy, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a drum break intro to end all drum break intros for rock. I mean,
yeah,
and that was just ignited something in me, and it was like, okay, I definitely want to do drums. Let's obsess about every drummer that's ever lived. And I went totally down that rabbit hole. And for me, all I was ever going to do was be a drummer. And then when I was 11. I saw Back to the Future, and it's such a cliche for like guitarists, but I saw Back to the Future, and I saw Michael J. Fox.
There's a reason it's a cliche, because
Yeah.
it's just an excellent
Totally. He
musical
just
scene in a
made
film.
it look the coolest thing, you know, and because they're doing Earth Angel before it, you know, and even he's hating it. He's just
Which is still a tune by the way.
Yeah,
Earth Angel's
it
oh
is.
god, that gets people on the dance floor, like, for sure. And yeah, he would, and yeah, he's not even feeling it, and you know, oh, this is an oldie, and he just kicks into Johnny B. Good, and it was that moment of going, I want to do that.
Like, everyone still has that. Like, I've only been in one band that performed, but like when you're in your car or anywhere, and a tune comes on, you sort of close your eyes and thinking, oh fuck, imagine how good it would be to be on stage and just fucking nailing this out,
Be doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
looking like one of the cool kids.
But the problem I had was at that moment, I knew I was in a band with guitarists as a drummer, and these guys had been playing guitar since they were 5, so they could play all that stuff, and I'm sitting there as a drummer going, oh, I don't know the first thing, you know, I don't know what to do, and that frustration of like, I want to do that, but I just physically can't, I don't know how. So that's, I think, what really pushed me to kind of start learning things other than the drums. It was like, right, I want to teach myself
Yeah.
how to do this stuff.
Well, it's something I admire, and like I remember one time I came round and sat with Andy Mack because he wanted a shot of my bass for a project he was working on at the time, and like I'm a very, very amateur and limited ability musician, and like Andy picked up my bass, and like I knew I'd heard his music before, I'd seen him play guitar, and he just picked up my bass and just like, see if I can watch someone just play something by ear.
Yeah.
Fucking blows my mind.
Me too.
Every time,
Yeah.
even at 30 years of age, I'm just like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's,
Yeah.
the satisfaction of teaching yourself that must have been a good driver as well. Like when you get to a certain milestone.
Oh, totally. I'm reminding myself even now, because I'm teaching myself the trumpet right now, and because you have that point of, it's a good year of you suck, you suck, and you know you suck, and it really grinds you down. I got my mum's she had an old nylon string classical guitar, and I picked that up and I learned how to tune it, and like started trying to teach myself like these old songs like How's the Rising Sun, Wish You Were Here, and stuff like that, and I just not getting it, and just couldn't get the coordination, you know, and totally giving up, you know, and then going, no, I need to push past it, you know, because, and I think doing that and teaching yourself, you develop an ear. You develop being able to do it by ear. You know?
Especially
I couldn't agree more with that, by the way. And then, you know, as you get older, your ear has become so fine-tuned that, like Chris is like me, you can pick up anything and get a tune out of it. It doesn't matter. I think it then comes down to fundamentals and techniques, you know. Ultimately, I don't play any woodwind or brass instruments. I never have. But I'm sure if you gave me the fundamentals of how to blow and how to breathe and all that, once I kind of got my fingers under the mechanics of the instrument, I'm sure we'd be able to get.
I know.
And I wouldn't want to be sitting there regimented playing scales, da 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 da. You know, sitting there all day. I just want to pick it up and create with it. Do you know what I mean? But I totally get what you're saying there, man. It's you get to a point, but you've got the skills. You just need to kind of fine tune the mechanics of it a little bit, as you say. Get your hands under whatever the instrument is, and fuck, you're away, man.
Well, I think it's because, again, like, talking about all the bands you've been in, I don't think I've ever seen you in a band that sounded like the other band I've seen you in. Do you know what I mean? It's always been
I would
so
hate
much,
that. I would absolutely hate that.
I would imagine there wouldn't be much point to do the same thing in more than one group.
Well, I mean, if you find that if you fall, like, so for instance, like I'm playing with Bohemian Monk Machine right now, I'd happily play in another funk band down the line. However, just like every other band I've been in, and I feel really lucky that every band I've been in has tried to do something different. Has not tried to go like out there. You know, we're not talking like Frank Zappa here. You know.
Do you think you've led that because you wanted it to be different, or is it just like, or maybe you've kind of unconsciously seek that out and say like, you know what, I don't want to do this. I'm going to go do this, and I know these group of boys, girls, or men and women will do this. Does that make sense?
I think to a point. I think I've always been conscious of being part of the group. I've never it's only now that I've got this trio that it's like that. It's all on me. The songwriting, the arrangements, everything is kind of down to me. Every other time, it's always been I've been a part of the group, and I'm purely just bringing something to. There's always been somebody in the group that has been pushing like their idea or try to do something different, you know. So, for instance, I was in a band for ages called Same Jane as a drummer, and we were trying to go down the route of, okay, right now everybody is going crazy for, this is like kind of early Biffy, I guess, that kind of thing, when that was the thing, you know. So like everyone's either going down that route or they're going down the really heavy route. Karina used to put on some real heavy nights, you know.
I played a gig in the Carina once, and we were going on first, so we got sound check last.
Yep.
So we sat down and watched all these like screamo bands, like proper skinny jeans, floppy hair, really good musicians, but like proper like and we were effectively like a rock and roll band, and the whole time we were just like fuck.
Yeah.
We are in the wrong evening.
I've never been in there, but I thought that's what, just from driving by, because when you drive by there, like you can see basically what's going on in the Carina at the time. I thought it was all that. I didn't think there would be anything else.
Well, it was like, I remember, because it was just this band, and they were sat down, like all their groupies had their Apple Macs out, and they're like, "What's the Wi-Fi?" And I'm like, "In the Carina, no sir." You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember. So sorry, I totally took over your story.
That's all right.
My head. But yeah, so early Biffy, you guys were trying to drive for something slightly.
Yeah, we wanted to try. We were like, okay, well, we love, let's just say, Led Zeppelin was a big one. I guess they got the other guys were really into. Like, Chris was super into R&B, like Ike and Tina Turner and stuff like that, and Marvin Gaye and Otis Redding and stuff. And Sam was the other guitarist, was super into Hendrix and as I say, Jimmy Page and stuff. And then there's kind of me, who's trying to kind of get a bit of everything, you know. So we really wanted to push. We just worked out that, look, if you play blues, if you play rock and roll, you can make it simple, like kind of like you could even go like Ramones simple, like just 3 chords, just batter it out.
That's my wheelhouse.
Yeah. People will dance, people will enjoy it, you know. You don't have this doesn't have to be this really technical thing or this really kind of overproduced trying to appeal to the masses thing. Rock and roll just seems to it's timeless, you know.
Good songs are good songs, mate.
Yes, exactly.
If you're armed with good songs and you can fucking play,
Totally.
and I don't have to stand there and listen to you tuning up on stage and that in between songs, and you've got a bit of stage presence and professionalism about you, you'll fucking kill it every time.
Yeah,
good songs are good songs.
Those are the bands that I enjoy, because you can see it. Like, again, when the only limited experience we had, the singer was right into his indie rock, Libertines, that type of stuff. One of the guitarists fucking was obsessed with Stone Roses. The other one really liked this sort of like melodic rock, Queen and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Drummer was an old grunge head, and there was me, who could literally play 3 chords and love this distortion pedal. Do you know what I mean? So it just, when you have like that, I feel like if you're all pulling in the same direction, you could sound like a million other bands. But
Totally.
I'd imagine, like, from what you've said, you want to make, you're only going to want to be involved with something if it's going to actually be something you enjoy, rather than just, this is the next Biffy, this is the next fucking, this is, what's that other band, the Glaswegian one, that fucking, they're like a polished Biffy Clyro. I've not done anything for a while, but it used to drive me insane, because the guy's voice was just grating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember. Fucking never mind.
Because on the two sides of it, like I had a band called Bar and Crawl, who were that was the weirdest that I've ever been in. So like the bassist singer, he was into like Primus and Faith No More and that kind of Mike Patton weird stuff, and then Tim, the keys player, who now plays in Purple Felts, keys player, he was well into his Herbie Hancock and Frank Zappa, you know. And then there's me, who's been kind of trying to listen to as much stuff, you know. And this is when I'm really starting to get into playing the trombone as like a jamming, and not just in orchestras. You know, this is me really. Actually, it was Vicky got me the Specials' first album, and the Specials' first album's got Rico Rodriguez, who was Bob Marley's trombone player. He plays horn on that, and that's where you get Message to You, Rudy, and all these famous horn lines and stuff. It's all him. So I'm trying to kind of get all that. On the other side, my first ever band, which was we did call ourselves, first of all, Project 45. We had to change the name because it was like a failed one of Hitler's failed genocide plans. And it was heavy stuff, man. Someone came up to us again when you can't call yourselves Project 45. We can call ourselves Project. So we actually weirdly we called ourselves the Doldrums. So is that the shittest name you've ever? Because like you're just setting yourself up for a fall. But we had a singer. It was Taylor White, who ended up going and being We Came From Wolves. He was in.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah. So he was well into Biffy, he was well into Queens of the Stone Age, Korn, that kind of thing. Sam, who was the guitarist in Same Jane, so he was loving the Led Zeppelin kind of thing. The bassist Andy, he was well into The View and the Smiths and stuff like that. And then there's again me just trying to kind of
Everything.
figure out, what am I liking, what am I not liking, you know? So like, and I think we did one gig at Blair Gowrie Battle of the Bands, and we almost got knifed. It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. We did not do well. We did because but that's what the point I'm trying to make is that because everybody had such different styles, it didn't work. So our set was like In My Head by Queens of the Stone Age, great tune, followed by Skag Trendy by The View. Like it just didn't.
Everywhere.
Oh, it
There's
just
no
didn't.
continuity. to
Yeah.
it.
Then 99 Red Balloons. Like it was a weird, and that
Banger.
just didn't work. You know, so it's it can work. It's a hit or a miss. You know.
Yeah. So well, you touched on it there as well. Just briefly, now you're doing your current project apart from Bohemian Monk Machine as a Chris Small trio. So you decided to go out there and like do your own thing.
Try it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what brought that on? Is it just from years of being part of the machine, not the machine, but like being a cog in the workings of a band,
I guess.
and then just deciding, right, this is what I want to do. So how do I go about doing that?
I think so. A few years ago, I released an EP called So Long, and it was more of an experiment, really. It's kind of what you're saying with always being a part of the machine and kind of wanting to see, am I at a point where I could be an actual singer-songwriter, you know? So I locked myself away and I was like, right, if I can even just get 3 songs, just do a small EP, but not do everything myself to go, look at me, I did it for myself. But just like, because if I could do it for myself, I had complete control over the creative process. There was it was a kind of unique kind of thing that I could do. And I think we added, the producer Dave Macfarlane, he added fiddle on one of the songs. It's one instrument I can't play. But apart from that, we kind of did it over just a few days and that was fine. But then as soon as I kind of released it, I was like, I don't actually feel like I'm ready to front a band to perform this stuff with. It was a weird kind of realization. I was like, well, the songwriting's kind of, I'm happy with the songwriting, but there's something missing. And what I realized now years later is that it was because I did it all on my own.
I can relate to that because, if I think about how much stuff I do all on my own, then if I come to the point where I go, I'd like to go and gig this, I've literally got to go out and recruit a band.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play for me, it's going to be super, super, super demanding.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to find 90% of all. Because I've had it through years playing in bands. I'm 10 years older than Chris. So when I was Chris's age, I was doing all that stuff. And I got to the point where I went, nah, fuck this. I'm just going to go and do my own thing.
Yeah.
But, I know what that's like. It's difficult because you want to have the control over the process. But then if you then want to go out and gig it, you're kind of going, fuck. I've got to literally put together a band and teach people all this material and make sure that it's right and I'm happy with them performing it and they're happy doing it to then take it out on the road. That's a
task.
tall task
Yeah.
after you've then done everything on your own to begin with.
Yeah.
I know from the singer in my band, my mate Scrimmy, do you know what I mean? He wrote all the songs and he came up with the melodies and the chord structure and stuff like that. So it would be a case of, because he had so many different styles in the band, he would take on board that and that would make the song. But if you do, like you say, it's the Chris Small trio, so this is your project.
Yeah.
So it must be, as well as that, because you don't want to be an arse, but at the same time, you're like, this is my baby. I know how I want this song to sound.
Well, it's now a point where I've learnt that overall, whilst it is really difficult sometimes to, if you know that you're right, and this doesn't even apply to just music, if you know that you're right and you're listening to someone else say that they're right, but you fucking know that they're not right, you're fucking right, and you're just trying to, you're trying to be like nice and kind about it. But with music, I've really learned that no matter how right I think I am, if I'm trying to arrange and write everything, no matter how much I think it's going to be the best version, it's bullshit. It really is, because for instance, the 2 guys that I've got in this trio now, the drummer's Ivan Sveda, who plays, at the moment is still playing for Red Pine, timber company, but used to play in a band called Threshold 6, one of the heavy bands that used to play in Arena. I used to go when I was like 14, man. I used to go, and Ivan used to have this big goatee. He used to wear a bandana because he's bald. He used to scare the shit out of me. And because he did blast beats, had the double bass drum pedal, and he was super serious. And now he's the nicest dude. But his knowledge of drums, even though I'm a drummer and I can kind of approach things as a drummer, he does this professionally. You know, he teaches drums. He's been a tutor at the college for like 4 years now. He knows his shit. And so it's naive of me to think that I couldn't utilize that.
The thing is, sometimes as well as, you know, in anything, if you're too close to a project, so say you've been in the studio for 2 months writing and producing these songs, and you've got yourself stuck in a loop as to how something sounds. Sometimes you need someone else to just maybe go, let me try this. And you're like, fuck, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. Totally.
You know,
I'm doing it right now. I'm recording the EP right now, and I had the bass player, who's Dave Shaw, again, used to play bass in Red Pine Timber Company. I had him round, and I was letting him hear this song, and we played the whole thing through, and he went, I love it, but it needs to be 3 times faster. And I went, oh, okay. I'd been going for a real like the Doors kind of vibe, quite slow, quite relaxed, quite chill, and grooving, but really slow. And he said, no, look, watch. If we do this like as an up tempo number, then and it did, and it came alive. The whole song came out, and I'd never even conceived about doing it fast. But as soon as we tried it, and I got the guitar out and we actually played it together, and we did it for the first time on Saturday night there, and it brought the house down, people dancing, and it was great. I never considered that.
2 things I probably just want to throw in there. First of all, when I saw that you got Ivan in for the trio, I was like, damn, son, because he's a phenomenal drummer, and he also lectures up at the college. I don't really know him personally too well, but I know of his drumming ability, and it's fucking frightening.
I'm supremely lucky. I'm crazy lucky that he was up for it and wanted to do it.
The second thing I wanted to throw at that, though, was sometimes it is easier to take feedback or suggestions from people who you know are highly accomplished. It's also, I personally find that sometimes you know, somebody might offer you their opinion on a mix or on a track or a structure or whatever, and you're kind of like, what the fuck do you really know about it, though, man?
Sure.
But
it's just knowing someone that's done something. One of my pals, I won't mention names because they're still newer, they messaged me about doing comedy. And I was like, look, I know fucking nothing about it. I've only done it like a handful of times, but in my experience, try this. Or they sent me a joke, and I was just like, we'll try and trim out the first couple of sentences and then do this bit here.
Sure.
And that's what. So it's just, you do need that feedback. You can't stay in your own head for too long, because, like I say, you get stuck in that loop and things can become stale or stagnant.
But you need to be able to critically and self-evaluate as well. That's super important. You need to be able to step back and know, Kim, what this song's had enough done to it, or it doesn't need anything else added to it.
And that's tough. That takes learning. You need to learn how to do that. People can't just do that.
But then that's what you always find. And I always find it with bands, like with the best drummers and the best bass players. They're the ones that you don't notice. So it's the stuff that you're adding to the track that's not necessarily noticeable.
Yeah.
But it's the little bullshit things like shakers and fucking tambourines. You don't need another 3 tracks of guitar on there.
No.
You know, you just need something else to move the air. So there's no right and wrong way to write songs and do any of that stuff. But
well, like I said, I've got a couple of final questions just to liven it up before we get into the usual shit chat. So you talked about a couple of the albums that you were given that sort of changed it. So if you could pinpoint one album that you remember, like, holy shit, this is special, what would it be? This is a type of question that puts Andy Mack in the dirt.
They break me on that. I'll tell you next week.
It changes all the time. I mean, like, if I think back then, if I compare how much music I knew then to now, it's like, you know, it's a, you know, you're talking when I was, I guess, 13 to maybe like 11, 12, when music really started to take over. Like, I never heard of, like, the greats, you know, like we're talking like greats of loads of different genres, like Miles Davis or like Beethoven. You know, you'd heard of these names, but you never actually given them a listen. Whereas if I look at it now, it's like, oh, how did I live without this stuff? You know, but there's an album to pick. probably. I mean, Led Zeppelin was such an awakening because it was 4 guys, and live. I mean, Robert Plant was just the singer, so live musically, you've only got 1 guitar and 1 bass and the drummer, and that's it. You know, John Paul Jones, the bassist, also played keys, but that was it. And the sound that these guys made was just meteoric. You know, it was
frightening,
absolutely frightening. I saw a pair of his sticks at some kind of thing in Glasgow years and years ago, and they were tree trunks. They were absolutely mad. They're the biggest drumsticks I'd ever seen. They really were. And he was famous for, he would just play with his hands. He would just put the sticks down and he would just play with his hands, and he had a huge gong that he always just have whack it with his hand, and it was no thing. He was just a powerful dude, you know. So Led Zeppelin 4, which is the one that everybody kind of says is the kind of, it's now, being a Led Zeppelin snob, it's not my favourite now, but we're not going to go into that.
It's like, I don't like Biffy's new album.
It's but it does. It has. It's like if you need like a gateway into Led Zeppelin 4 is the way to do it. You know. So that definitely like awoke in me, like, oh god, like there's so much you can do with drums, you know, or being part of a band. It made me want to like, oh, I want to join a band. Like when you listen to these guys playing together and you watch footage of them going for it, there's that like jealousy of like, I want to do that. And of course, you join a band and it's you're playing The View and you're playing Queens of Stone. It doesn't add up, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably Led Zeppelin. On then the kind of flip of that, I remember the first time that I heard Duke Ellington.
Don't know that one.
Who was the kind of the cream of the crop of jazz swing arrangers back in the day. We're talking kind of the 50s, 40s, 50s, that kind of thing. There was the 2 main cats were Duke Ellington and Count Basie. Duke Ellington, I mean, he wrote thousands of songs, like way more than anyone else, like in his contemporaries, you know. And he ended up then there's loads of albums of like Duke Ellington playing with Ella Fitzgerald or that kind of thing, like famous crooners of the day, Frank Sinatra and stuff like that, you know. But Duke Ellington really kind of pushed this thing of, okay, you take something like jazz, which is super inaccessible and like it's just noise to some people, and you take something popular music at the time, which was like your Frank Sinatras and stuff like that, and you kind of try and make this exciting thing that you can go and see live, and there's a full big band playing it, and it's you can just like any other band, you can play slow, fast, you can make people cry, you can make people happy, like, and he
I'm
just
a sucker for the horn section.
yeah. And it really, hearing the horns really, as I say, just as a trombonist, like it opened my eyes to kind of what you could do as a horn player, and then getting to play in part when you're in a horn section. Like I love listening to horn sections, but man, when you're in a horn section and you're playing some line, I did a gig for Scottish Power of all people. Scottish Power. They were doing a fundraiser, right? And the fundraiser, the plan was it was going to be based around Strictly Come Dancing. So they got they put a lot of money into it, but they raised like 10 million quid. It was awesome. They got real professional dancers in, and they picked 10 Scottish Power employees who would be taught a dance by the professional.
Awesome.
And they put an event on in Glasgow, and the Scottish Power wanted a live pit band like they have on the show. And it was one of those, I just happened to know a guy who knows a guy, and I got the trombone slot. I had to play the Strictly Come Dancing theme about 50 times that day, and it was awful. But yeah, man,
It's like trigger warning for you.
Yeah,
If that comes on the telly, you just start shaking.
No. And we got to play. A song called. What was it? I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Oh, it was Gloria Estefan. Conga.
Oh yeah.
Down. You know this, and it's pretty cheesy, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in the middle of this 4-piece horn section, it was me and like 3 guys that really knew what they were doing.
That sounds like me on this podcast, actually.
And yeah, man, like it really cements when you're in part of like these moments, you know, it really cements like why you do what you do, you know?
I think it's the same as being in a cappella vocal groups.
Yes.
It's the same feeling of having to play your particular part of a 3 or a 4-part harmony and knowing that you're playing, say you're playing the third. You just flatten that third. Fuck, we're talking minor chords now, baby. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you've got that one little part within those stack of notes. If you get it wrong, it's going to sound like shit.
Or if you sing too quiet or too loud, it changes it as well. You've all got to be on it.
I think there's few things in music, especially hip hop. If I listen to a hip hop tune and it's got a decent horn section in it, I'll melt. Like,
me too.
Literally, that'll like.
Recently deceased Roy Hargrove, which you will like. I cannot wait to let you hear Roy Hargrove. He had a band called the RH Factor. And they...
I'm going to write that down.
100%, man. His first album has a very young Common doing a... it's called Common... I think it's literally called Common Freestyle, I think it's called. And he worked with all of D'Angelo's... Voodoo? Roy Hargrove's all over that. I mean, that album is cream of the crop, like hip-hop, funk. You've got Questlove, you've got... Pino Palladino on the bass, who's now John Mayer's bass player, and he's actually the bass player for the Who as well. The guy gets around. He's an old Welsh dude. It's amazing. He's that quintessential. He's like 6'3", skinny as a rake, white bass player dude. You know. But
being a bass player myself, I am also skinny.
But yeah, man, yeah. So guys like Roy Hargrove are pioneering that whole thing of going, well, like jazz is an institution. Let's make sure that it doesn't just kind of get left by the wayside. Here's guys like D'Angelo coming in, and at the time, you guess you got guys like Wu-Tang and stuff like coming in.
Well, I've talked about this with Andy Mack a million times. Is like if a sample can be like, because I was talking about the the Baby Driver soundtrack,
Phenomenal soundtrack,
and it's so many of those samples that you recognise from songs you've heard a million times, but you've never. I've probably quite guilty of listening to a hip hop track and not actually going, I wonder what that sample is.
Who cares?
Because,
but that's not the game. Sometimes that you just want to listen to the
but
track.
then, like, let's say the Baby Driver soundtrack opened my eyes. I was like, fuck, man, these songs in themselves are such well-written pieces of music that you forget because they fit so well into hip hop tracks or whatever they're sampled on. You kind of forget that those songs themselves are fucking sensational.
That's half the battle, isn't it? Like for some hip hop producers, you know that if you can get that feeling that was harnessed back in the 70s or 80s when that original song came out, some of those people who are listening to their music now, they're probably like, they may have heard that and subconsciously heard their parents listening to it, and subconsciously they're like, oh shit, I like
that's
this.
why somebody like Roy Hargrove had such a big explosion in his popularity in the early mid-90s was because of the jazz revival, because of all the producers becoming more and more obscure with their crate digging and sampling more obscure jazz records. And then people are kind of going, okay, great beat. Where's the sample from? Oh, okay, cool. That's from there. It's from there. I mean, and then that's how that's why I always say hip hop producers, crate diggers, and that generally have some of the most encyclopedic knowledges of music because of the wide variety of stuff that you're digging through constantly on a daily basis. If you're looking for breaks in that, that's just one.
Well, that's the thing, because I remember in my drum lessons, I got taught "The Funky Drummer" by James Brown. It's the most sampled drum beat of all time. And it's the best drum solo because you even hear James Brown in the track going like, "Well, okay, we're gonna let the drummer go. I don't do like a solo. Just
the drummer some.
Just give the drummer some space to play the beat." And Clyde Stubblefield, and he just plays this beat. And it took me 2 months to learn how to play this beat. I can just tell he didn't think. He just did it.
It's when you see it's drummers, especially, like drums is the instrument I always wanted to play. And I just don't have the coordination. No matter how many times I tried to play, and I was the arsehole that during band practice, when everyone went for a fag break, I would jump on the drums straight away until someone told me to fuck off, because I was horrific at it. But like Riley started playing the drums. I bought him an electric drum kit for his birthday just there, because he lives in a flat. He's like, I want a drum set. I'm like, I can't get you a drum set because you live in a 4 in a block.
The sound of the sticks hitting those pads is still going to drive you mad after a while.
Yeah. Sat his mum's house. Do you know what I mean? But like, it was more for the neighbours. Like, I couldn't give a fuck because my mum and dad used to let me blare music or blare my bass as loud as possible. So if I had the space, I would have bought him an actual drum kit. But this is the next best thing. And he's buzzing, and I'm like, I'm trying to get him, like, go and listen to this drummer. I was like, Matt Helder's for the Arctic Monkeys, Travis Barker.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Do you know what I mean? Just drummers that I know to then try and get him down a YouTube rabbit hole so you can try and listen to songs. And even like you pulled on like some old Oasis track the other day, and I could see him like tapping away in the back of the car. I was like, yes.
Totally. And I think it makes all the difference when you've got, as I say, like guys like Clyde Stillfield, who this one little break that he did in this one James Brown song, then like every hip hop producer under the sun, not all of them, but a huge majority have used, and it's they've either slowed it down or sped it up. And when you hear, like, I'm not going to try and like.
I was going to say, do it.
Well, I mean, the beat, it does this. It's like.
I'll drop a clip of it into the middle of this little bit here. If we leave a little pause here, I'll drop the beat so the listeners can know what we're talking about. 3, 2, 1,
pause. Fucking classic, man.
Look at that.
I know that. Oh, all right. That's wonder stuff.
Yeah.
Could I say I would argue that the Amen break is the most sampled break of all time? But it's
3, 2, 1.
Oh, really?
It'll be like that.
3, 2, 1, pause for the Amen break. No more drum breaks because it's
a lot of work.
I need to go through my folders, fucking dig these out, man.
Right, okay, well, I'll go. This is
here.
one last question before we go on our usual shit chat. Actually, Mike, which one should we ask? I've wrote down 2, so I've got that one or that one. Which one do you think we should ask him?
I like artists that you love that would surprise people.
Yeah, so is there an artist that you love that might surprise people?
Oh, we said at the start, ABBA.
Oh, yeah.
Like, actually going back, and I recently got about 2 years ago, I really got into a band called Wolfpack, who I got to see live in London last year, and it was amazing. A bunch of American guys, and what they're trying to do is emulate these rhythm sections of Days Gone By, who would work for labels. Most famously, the Funk Brothers, who were Motown's. Basically, Motown was just an assembly line. Motown, you had your writers that did all the writing, then your arrangers, then all the musicians, and then the singers would slap their thing on it, and then it gets sent out next thing. And it was just, and that's how they got so big. They had this core group of musicians that played better than anyone else. Any Motown hit, there's this guy, James Jameson, who's the bass player. He will be playing bass on that record.
So it was all the same musicians?
All the same
for
musicians.
all the Motown singers?
For the most part.
That's the same as like Stax Records or
Stax,
that was the same.
Muscle Shoals
Have
is
you
another
seen
big
that
one.
documentary?
Yes, of course.
Fucking fantastic.
So Muscle Shoals.
I've seen something.
It's actually it's referenced most famously in Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner. The last verse references Muscle Shoals, and there's their in-house band was called the Wrecking Crew, which is just so cool. And again, anyone that passes through into that studio, like the Wrecking Crew, just work there. So if you wanted, so again, I mean, their drummer recently passed away. He played on most of the Beach Boys' big hits. He ended up playing. He was just one of the, as I say, these musicians that are kind of part of these big artists that you would never know. Wolfpack wanted to do a similar thing with like the old funk and disco kind of time, because again there was a similar thing going on that's not really talked about. It's when you talk about when you go.
I reckon I realise the name there. I see them quite a lot on Facebook. They've got quite a lot of viral videos cutting about, and they've also got a number of sort of famous drummers and other sort of famous musicians who come in and do guest appearances.
Correct.
And that.
So you've got a guy. There's another for Riley. There's another guy. They get a guy called Bernard Purdy, who invented a thing called the Purdy Shuffle. The guy's like 80 now, and he still does clinics around the world, and he is just the most charismatic, open dude. And he teaches people how to do the Purdy Shuffle, and it's all feel. He played on everything. He used to bring a sign with him. Say if you hired Bernard Purdy to play your gig, or right, he would set up his drum kit, And then he had a sign that he used to put next to drum kit that said, "You've hired the hitmaker, Bernard Purdy." He used to put that on stage next to him. The guy was so cocky, but he had the chops for it, right?
You gotta have that.
So Wolfpack got famous for trying to emulate that same kind of thing, which is that, like, if you think of ABBA, there were musicians that were involved with recording those songs, but you only know you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's this whole unexplored world of really good disco and really good. There's some amazing playing going on, and there's some really cool like chord sequences and kind of structures going on. And so something like ABBA really kind of on the forefront, kind of is pretty cheesy, you know. But the reason that ABBA works, and I found this out from a guy called Stuart Nisbet, who's a guitarist, lives in Perthfatch. I played with a few times now. He used to be the guitarist for Proclaimers and Delamitri and stuff like that back in the day, China Crisis and stuff. Super cool dude. He said, what ABBA do, you'll probably get this more than these two. No offense.
No.
guys.
No, I'm totally just taking all this in. So.
What ABBA would do is they would hold off the prominent harmony, right? Or they would make the prominent harmony so that when you, as the listener, you instinctively sing the note, what they're at in the mix, what they've done is they'll put, say, you're singing the third. In the mix, everybody else on the track is singing the root and the fifth. Yeah. So when you're singing that third, you're kind of almost like becoming the missing link. Yeah. And it makes the songs so much more like full, because when you're singing, and that's why people love these songs are so singable, because you're almost completing the triad or of whatever it is.
This is just what we were talking about with the a cappella groups earlier on. You're completing that one part, and I actually said that earlier on. You know, you've then got that power to change one note within, you know, those stack of four. Change that third,
correct.
Flatten it by a semitone, and suddenly we're in a minor.
Yeah,
we're in a minor chord, and that's you know, with the ABBA thing, it's all about. I always thought it was all about. Not tension and release, but it's just you get the same thing with the EDM. You know, when the drops come in. With the ABBA songs, you got the sort of tension and then the resolution, if that makes sense, at the point where naturally you expect it to be, and that makes it quite reassuring, and that's what ultimately makes it quite listenable.
Yep.
But yeah, that's an interesting one about a lot of the melodies then being based around sort of the thirds, in and around the seconds, the thirds and the fourths, because then underneath that you've got the root and the fifth, and maybe even an octave above, and then you're filling it all in. I'm loving this chat tonight, boys.
It's good, eh?
Fucking brilliant.
So I'd say ABBA's definitely one that I would is maybe like not as like instantly kind of, you know, like, oh, okay, interesting. There was one more album by it's one of those. I think it's because I heard it when I was younger, and I've always just liked it because of that. But the band, now I can't believe I'm kind of drawing a blank here because it's one of my favourite albums. I can see the cover, 2 secs. Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
I could see the cover there. It was one of the first things I ever got on vinyl.
Yeah.
And it's like a gateway into Thin Lizzy, and Thin Lizzy is another one of those kind of, everybody knows Boys Are Back in Town, everyone, you know, but they just in that album they tear through every kind of rock.
Is that one have Gary Moore on it?
No, it's a later one, but not much later. They started working together. Gary Moore actually toured with them. Yeah. He's phenomenal.
R.I.P. Gary Moore. Miss Gary Moore, man.
He's fucking
wonderful guitar
out
player.
the fields.
Can I just throw one more thing in the ABBA thing I was just thinking about that makes their songs so easy to remember, so memorable, easy to sing along to? Notice that the melodies only ever move in semitones.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, it never ever jumps between.
Or Mamma Mia, here I go again.
Yep.
You're just doing on a piano. You're literally like one note there, one. You're never, but there are no big jumps.
That just blew my mind.
Is that done intentionally though? Do you
Yeah,
think they say
It's the same as Twinkle
100%.
Twinkle Little Stars. The same. You know, it's just moving down in semitones.
Yeah. It's never a big jump. I think occasionally they maybe go like the lesser hits. They maybe kind of go like Winner Takes It All goes a bit crazy, but your actual hits, like it's a Dancing Queen's
The drunken dance floor fillers.
Oh yeah.
I've never failed to see Dancing Queen fill a dance floor in seconds. Man.
There's never a space of more than about 4 notes in the melodies. It never, swings about. It's not like fucking Mariah Carey.
No.
You know what I mean? It's little blocks of sort of
like
4 notes.
Waterloo. I was defeated, you won the war. It's just kind of like that's just going downstairs. It's so simple. Anybody can say it.
I was defeated, you won the war.
Taking the lead, making it so clinical. But yeah, it's super clever. Like if you think about Dancing Queen, the main melody line that everybody sings there is "You are the dancing queen." But there's actually, when you listen to the track, there's dancing queen, dancing queen. There's these harmonies that nobody ever sings. They don't make that the famous bit. But when you sing that, and they're also singing that on the track, as I say, you complete that chord. And that's why I went to see. We took my missus and her family went to see Steps play Dundee recently. Nice. Right, it was a mental gig because it was Blue, an ABBA tribute band, and then Steps. I had to not luckily. I had a gig, unfortunately, so I had to leave before Steps came on. But
to be honest, you probably missed the best part.
I tell you what, Blue knocked it out of the park. I will give it to Blue.
I was like,
they knocked it out of the park.
Duncan or whatever.
They were so tight.
I'm telling you,
awesome.
there's a case to be made, and I will stand by 5 till the day I die.
Do you know?
As having some absolute bangers.
The 5 Megamix on YouTube is the greatest thing you've ever heard.
Do you know there's only 3 of them?
5 Megamix.
Do you know that 5? There's only 3 of them.
I'm pretty sure I've said this.
I'm not kidding. They're touring. It's 5.
I'm pretty sure they played the Mecca Bingo in Dundee not that long ago. But I'll tell you, there's a list of songs that I'll never skip when they come on in the car. And If You're Getting Down is one of them.
Fucking banger, mate.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Good song.
Right.
Good tune.
I will
Anyway.
just touch on it quick before I go. I listened to your most recent release on Spotify earlier on.
Yeah, listen on the way here. It's very good.
Oh, cheers, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The song "The Good Times" took me right back to The Commitments.
Hell
One
yeah.
of my favourite albums, films ever.
Yep.
Obviously they're just a cover band, but I love all their takes on those songs, and that took me right back to that sort of soul type of music. So honestly,
it's a little homage to that kind of 60s kind of classic kind of cool vibe, but also I really wanted to kind of push the horns on that one because Commitments, amazing horn section. Blues Brothers, amazing horn section. And it's not that it's lacking these days, but just there's something I love. Like horns just instantly can guide you when there's no vocals. It can tell you, is this a happy song? Is this a sad song? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good point.
like
Yeah, it does.
especially the
well.
Commitments version to Try a Little Tenderness. That sad horn, that instantly you're like, oh,
Totally.
fucking love this tune.
Or like Good Times, as to say, these like long notes, or I tried to imitate a baritone saxophone with a trombone, where you have these like these big punchy horn lines, you know. I did it in my back room, which is like a little home studio, and I got John Harkis to mix it.
Oh, nice.
From PMX, and it was interesting because he does he mixes like skate punk and like hardcore stuff.
Really technical.
Yeah,
rock and roll.
totally. And I was like, I need you to make this sound like it was recorded in the 60s, you know?
Yeah.
And that was a total challenge for him. But
it had that real raw. It almost sounded like, I know it's live, but it almost sounded like a live recording just because like you said, it was punchy. It was and it had that old school feel to it. And as soon as I listened to it, the sun was shining. I was walking down the road. I was like,
I was just thinking as I was driving down here because it's one of the few nice days that you get. I was like, this is awesome, driving music.
Yeah.
And I couldn't couldn't write it down because I was driving. But one of my favorite movies, and please don't grill me on this. That Thing You Do.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about putting in a reference earlier in this conversation, but I was like, that's gonna be a really deep cut if I put in That Thing You Do. And I did it. It was about when I decided to speed up that song that I just written.
Yeah, and they do that in that movie.
They do that, and that's what makes it.
He's just playing it, and they're like, slow down, and then he just jumps out. He's like, shit, I gotta play.
That has just made my day. That's a great Tom Hanks for his directorial debut.
Yes.
oh well.
Great
Dropping
movie.
Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, we do have Tom Hanks. But one more thing.
Yeah.
Shit, you made me
Well,
forget.
I'm
God
in a
damn
really
it.
fucking good segue. You fucked me up.
Trumpet players, because my daughter plays the trumpet. Who's like a good? Because I have never done what you've done, Jordan, with Riley, and just said, "Here's some drummers, do that." Because I don't really know anybody who plays the trumpet. Who's like some good trumpet players that I can be like, "Hey, let's listen to these people." And
Well, I mean, Miles Davis is kind of the quintessential because it's such a breadth is his kind of style. My personal favorite trumpet player right now is a guy called Nat Adderley.
okay,
Who's the brother of a guy called Cannonball Adderley. Cannonball Adderley was a tenor sax player who played in Miles Davis' band. He's actually on Kinda Blue, which is, people say if you only ever listen to one jazz album, listen to Kinda Blue. If you're ever going to listen, if there's ever only one album that you can pick, it should be Kinda Blue. It's it's something that every person, whether you like jazz or not, everybody should listen to Kinda Blue. It's a landmark thing. It's genuinely amazing. And so Cannonball Adderley is a sax player. He went on and had an amazing career as a saxophonist. And his brother, Nat Adderley, played the trumpet. And they then played together as a quintet. And so his playing as a trumpet player, there's kind of, you can, the good thing with the trumpet or any horns is you have jazz trumpet players, you have Latin trumpet players, you've got ska trumpet players, you've got guys like Hargrove who go into the world of hip hop, who are there solely to kind of serve the kind of the song that they're playing in. But yeah, it's a good mix. Someone like Miles Davis famously said that it's not about the notes you play; it's the space in between the notes. It's the space, and Kinda Blue is a kind of perfect example of that. He was also mental, like he was also crazy, man. Like when you listen to Kinda Blue and then listen to like something in his later career, like Bitches Brew, it's like psychedelic and it's weird. Even I can't personally, it's like not for me. It's that kind of style of jazz that's just too much. Like
It's a bit too avant-garde for
yes,
most
that's
people.
the word. Yeah, totally.
avant-garde.
Good word. But yeah, that thing you did, there's homework, man. Like watch that thing you
Great
do.
movie. Great movie.
Vicky will know about it. My mum taped it onto a VHS, and I wore that tape.
Me too.
I completely wore it out with the amount of times I watched that
It was
movie.
like me with the Commitments. That was like the first film my parents let me watch. I had fuck tons of swearing in it. Purely because the music was
Destination
sensational.
Anywhere, like you're saying, it's all covers, but Destination Anywhere
on the
is
train.
yeah.
And the boy, it was Andrew Small, I think his voice is the
Oh,
singer.
yeah. He was like 16 when he was 17 when he did the movie.
Yeah, but that film just like that blew my mind.
Andrew Strong,
that was it. Yeah, but yeah, fucking great film.
Great
Anyway.
film.
So wait, we were talking about That Thing You Do, Tom Hanks directorial debut. Actually, the soundtrack. I have the soundtrack. I always
too.
keep it on anything
Me
streaming
too.
service that I have.
Yeah.
Directed by Tom Hanks, was it?
Yeah, he's actually
Tom.
one of the points on one of our regular features.
Which is called Braw Or Naw.
Braw or Naw. Braw or Naw. Braw or Naw.
For those of you who are just joining us, or for Chris, just in case you don't know, Braw Or Naw is our judgment section.
Yeah,
Where
we judge.
We get the listeners to make up some content for us.
Yes, that's why Maurice wrote on the Facebook page
So
today that we
basically,
were slacking.
We will go through some topics, and they will either go in the Brawl of Fame or straight in the knob in. I didn't make that. I can't make it. That got made up a few weeks ago. But
Just got made up. Yeah. So wait, we'll start from our segue. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. Braw Or Naw. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that can say no.
Is there anyone in the world who doesn't like Tom Hanks?
I don't think so.
Justin Bieber.
No, it's
Really?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
He should fight Tom Hanks anyway. He'd batter him too.
Yeah, totally.
I fucking. You know what it is with Tom Cruise? Is
Let's go live. Can you bring the list up on your?
Yeah, man. He just seems to be like
going on
the
Facebook Live?
nicest guy in the fucking universe. I don't know if this was just some made up thing, but there's a photo of him online somewhere where someone's passed out in a pub and he's just like, and they've left their phone there, and he like, Tom Cruise sits next to rakes his selfies with this guy who's out cold.
Really?
And then just puts his phone down and fucks off. So this guy wakes up to like, rakes the photos of Tom Cruise giving him a cuddle. Tom Hanks giving him a cuddle, sorry. So, I like, I mean, like, his films as well, like,
I was at the perfect age that, like, I clearly remember Toy Story, coming onto the scene, it being a big thing. You know, I was like 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old.
This totally new animation style.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well,
This
yeah.
is, and, you know, and of course I'm at an age where I didn't really know too much before that, so like, this is a big thing, and,
Yeah.
and so I've grown up with him. He was totally like the guy. You
I
know?
remember when Toy Story 3 came out, when I was with my ex, we took me, her, our pals, took all of our kids who were about the same age, took them to see Toy Story, and they were kind of disinterested by the end of it. Like the
Really?
scene, not disinterested, but the scene where they're on the fucking going into
the incinerator, yeah.
Christ, like there was 6 adults, like in floods of tears,
Yeah.
and the kids at that point weren't really emotionally invested. They were like,
Sure.
We were like,
No, I felt it. I felt it.
like Castaway as well. Like,
Yeah.
what a fucking film.
Apollo 13. Like,
Apollo
Great,
13.
another great movie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, he just seems like a great dude.
Seems like a nice guy.
Just seems, and his son's a good actor as well.
Colin
Hanks.
Kirsty and I, apparently, we watch a show called Life in Pieces. It's an American kind of sitcom, basically. And Colin Hanks, it's the first time I've ever seen Colin Hanks in anything. He is so
He
funny.
played one of the good baddies in Dexter.
He was in
Did he
Dexter,
really?
yeah.
And that was after, I think that was maybe the last good season of Dexter, was where Colin Hanks was the baddie.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I remember seeing him on
Yeah,
there.
but yeah, Tom Hanks for me, that is without a
Definitely.
shadow of a doubt, bro.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Brawl all around. Favorite Tom Hanks movie? Oh, Andy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I won't have a bad word said about Tom Hanks on this show.
I won't start.
Fucking big trouble if there is, right?
I'm going to say Toy Story because, like Chris said, it was like a big moment in my childhood. Plus, it was like something me and Riley used to watch together as well.
Aw.
So like,
Yeah.
it holds a lot for me. Aye. So yeah, I'm going to say Toy Story.
Probably. I like Forrest Gump. I'm not gonna lie.
But you forget about Forrest
That
Gump.
is
yeah.
one of the greatest movies of all time,
Yeah.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
As a cultural reference as well. Like, how often when you see somebody running away, you're like, run, Forrest, run, jump.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
Forrest.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Aye.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good
can't.
shout.
I can't have a bad word said about him.
Chris?
Yeah, I kind of have to kind of now. After we spoke, I kind of think That Thing You Do. It's
movie.
it's between that and Toy Story because Toy Story super important for the age I was, but That Thing You Do, I watched it so many times.
Yeah.
You know? But Forrest Gump, man,
See, I don't think Toy Story counts because it's only voice acting.
and that was
think
at a
for-
time where it was really just voice acting. Yeah.
See, like being a bit older, I remember when Toy Story came out. It's like it's a film that's made entirely on a computer.
Yeah.
It was like that's
cool.
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
See what this is about. And I was like, this is for kids a lot smaller than
Well,
me.
as well as
Like,
that Castaway, you've got to remember Castaway, like,
brilliant.
that was him by himself.
Yeah, that blew my mind
For
when I
like,
saw it
for
first
like,
time.
so that's like a 2-hour movie, and for maybe like an hour and 50 minutes of it, it is just him and a beach ball.
Don't forget classics such as You've Got Mail.
Oh,
Mail.
yeah. Turner and Hooch. Oh, big,
Big! Love Big!
Big
was in
which has
Seattle.
become quite a problematic film when you think about it.
What's that?
Well, if you switched the roles and you knew it was a guy having sex with a 13-year-old girl who'd been turned into a woman.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But
Sure.
at the time, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I fucking love Big, do not
Yeah.
get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things that people have started poking holes in where you're like,
Here we go.
Don't poke holes in it. Don't poke holes
but
in
like,
it.
I'm gonna go with either, since we said That Thing You Do, Saving Private Ryan has to be up there, right?
Yeah.
and he directed Band of Brothers as well,
Have
didn't
you
he?
have you seen A League of Their Own? It's like
not,
set around the time I think it was World War II, and all the men went off to war, and all these women started playing baseball, and great movie. He's in it. Great movie. Highly recommend it. Every time I see A League of Their Own on Sky, I'm like, oh, this is it, and I'm like, oh fuck, it's not
That's
this.
fucking
It's
James Corden.
Stupid James Corden show.
I'm glad nobody said the Da Vinci Code. I'm glad.
I didn't see
Back
it.
Look, the Da Vinci Code was alright. The subsequent, Jesus
Oh, sorry,
Christ, man.
Blind.
The subsequent films after that got a bit ridiculous. I
Sure.
thought the first one was like, I read the book, and it
Yeah, me
obviously wasn't as good as the book, but Tom Hanks was great in it. But then I watched the 2 sequels, was it Angels and Demons and then Inferno, and afterwards I was like, wow,
Aye.
the quality of these descended. But at the same time, didn't dislike Tom Hanks. I think that's got to be the most unanimous Braw.
Yeah,
we've ever done.
100%.
He's at the top of what is it that Tom Brady's in? He's in the scumbag hole.
No,
of
that's
fame?
the cunt pile.
He's in the opposite.
The hero pile.
He's in the hero pile.
Yeah.
Hero pile.
All right.
Also, Tom Hanks, if you just go on YouTube and type Tom Hanks SNL compilation, every time he's been on Saturday Night Live, he knocks it. He is so funny.
Probably
His
as well.
comedic timing
One
is
of the
spot
most
on.
recognisable voices.
Yeah. But that's the thing. He was in a lift with a little kid that had a Woody doll. Like around the time it was the whole Toy Story hype was happening. And of course, Tom Hanks thought he'd be like, "Oh, hey, kid," he started doing like the Woody, and hey, I'll sign. He signed his book. Kid went mental at him because he didn't know who this guy was. He just taken his prize Woody doll, scribbled all over it, and gave it back. Like the mother was like, "Oh, look, it's fucking not Woody. Who the hell,
I really feel like we should name this episode something to do with Tom Hanks.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Tom Hanks is not a wank.
The hero pile.
If you don't like Tom Hanks, unlike our page.
Please,
Yeah, I don't
we
want
nothing
you
to do with
listening
you.
to my show.
Yeah.
What's
At
next?
all. Next we have, this is actually quite a good segue because I know Tom Hanks's kid went to St Andrews Uni.
Oh, all right.
I'm sure. So Billy Morrison's put in the town of St Andrews in general, full of knobs, but a decent town, so I'm torn. Yeah, I just from Megan was working in St Andrews once. They have a store through there, so she went through. So I went to pick her up, and there was just all these young people cutting about. There was this one
Hi,
guy,
Grandpa.
No, but there was this one guy, right? Oh, buy it! But there was this one guy, and he was dressed like he was an extra in Les Mis. Like he always had the breeches on, and he had like a bag, but it was like a hash and sack or whatever it is, but it like twisted and then thrown over his shoulder.
Yeah.
But like you can see that's just his day-to-day wear.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one can be that pretentious. But only in St Andrews they can be,
Yeah.
because that's idyllic Scotland for people who aren't from Scotland.
Correct. That in Edinburgh.
Okay.
Like
That in Edinburgh.
the old town in Edinburgh and St Andrews.
I always call them shortbread tin sort of towns. You know what I mean?
Totally. Like,
Yeah.
you're- like, and it's
But it is a very, very culturally important place.
beautiful place.
Yeah.
I mean, like for the golf in there, the scenery there. Do you know what I mean? It's like a nice
Lots
day
going
out.
on, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to say the people of St Andrews. No, it's not even the people.
That guy. That one guy.
That guy he goes
it.
straight on the cunt pile.
He's on the
that
cunt
guy,
pile.
whoever you are.
Right next to Tom Brady.
Late Miz cunt, that's you, straight in the cunt pile. But I'm going to say Braw, because I like St Andrews.
I love St. I don't even know what anyone's talking about. The
You know, it
people
always
there.
seems sunny there as well. I've
Yeah.
never been to St Andrews when it's not been a beautiful day.
I played a gig in St Andrews when it was a proper storm. First, I almost didn't like leave the house. Like I was almost considering like calling the place up and saying I don't think I can come play this gig. It's like the storm is that bad, and it was one of the worst gigs I've done in a long time. It was just old men on this side of the pub and young crew on this side of the pub, and I thought maybe I can unite
team.
them. I could not unite them. Even amazingly, it was at Christmas time, so even Fairtale, New York, did not unite that pub. But I don't hold that against the town of St Andrews. My fiance, she's from Fife, and I don't hold that against her.
What's with that? Why does everyone hate
I don't know.
Fifers?
It's not a fucking kingdom. Because it's not a fucking kingdom, Michael. Myers.
She's not. She is from Taport, which is like this much into Fife as possible. It is just over the Tay Bridge, and then she's
It's like Diet Fife.
Yeah, totally.
Diet. I've heard so much shit about people from Fife, like
It's
webbed feet.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Scotland is so xenophobic about itself. Like, it's like, let's say Dundee's full of Mike's, Perth's full of posh people, Glasgow's full of Jakies, Edinburgh's full of arseholes, St Andrews is full of fucking pretentious wankers who aren't actually from Scotland.
Yeah.
Les Miserables.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'd say St Andrews for sure. So the point of that story was that Kirsty went to high school in St Andrews, went to Madras College, which is it's like
Sounds delicious.
Curry school.
It looked like I made that joke like week 2.
I bet she just was like, yep.
Took these guys 2 minutes.
But yeah, I don't hold that. It's a great place. I'd say Braw.
Can I just
Andrews.
touch quickly as well, like talking about you just said talking about doing a cover at a gig. My favourite band that you've ever been in is the Marshalls / the Smalls.
Oh dear.
Like when you and Vicky got up and just do like, there was a gig, I think it was last July when Matt and Vicky just come back. Like the Sunday they came back, it was the day of the World Cup final. And you're doing the open mic at the venue.
At the venue,
and
yeah.
You and Vicky got up, and me and Matthew danced to Monkey Man harder than I've ever danced in my life. Like I pulled a muscle in my leg.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But like, yeah, just
Those
want to
gigs
touch
were
on that.
special. Like, yeah.
Always just play the hits and it's fucking smashing. I meant to say that earlier when we were
Yeah.
talking about music, but it goes there. So St Andrews.
I'd say
Matt?
Braw.
Well, I'm saying Braw.
I'd say Braw.
Oh yeah, definitely a bra.
Bro, St Andrews was
You
in.
can bring the dogs on the beach too. don't you
Yeah.
know
Mike Dots.
that? Love that guy.
guy.
Love that guy.
Why does that guy keep commenting on the fucking thing every week?
I don't know, but he's handsome.
Is he though?
Asshole.
Mike Dots is say people who say it is what it is.
See, because that pissed me off when I saw it earlier on, because I say that. What are you trying to say,
did-
Mike?
Did I say it was good or bad?
I'm gonna
Chris, hold the camera.
I'm gonna tie this up with someone. Scott Brown, not the Scott Brown, but a Scott Brown.
These guys.
It's
The fake Scott Brown.
Fake Scott Brown. That's, Scott Brown's HP and this boy's like Tesco. Scott Brown's when you ask someone at work how's it going and they reply living the dream. No. Thing is,
Fucking do that too. What's
I
your
do it
problem,
as well,
mate?
but like, I hear it in my head. It's like how's it going? Did I say it? Did I say it? Oh, live the dream, pal. Every day.
It's like,
loving
I
life.
know, I hate that,
But I know what you mean.
work chat.
Those verbal just.
A guy said on coming out of work today, literally 2 hours ago, the guy went, well, it's another day closer to retirement.
Oh, that's
Fuck off.
harrowing thought. That, eh?
come on,
Imagine
man.
living your life and that's what you think when you actually leave your work at the end of the day.
Mate, and it's the same. Like I hate small
Seek, mate.
talk and I lift it and
Unnecessarily,
I'm
yeah,
now
yeah.
really happy that my job's on the bottom floor of the office. 'Cause I used to hate getting in a lift. So I'm like, another up to the penthouse. I'm like, I had like in my head that images, like in films where like someone gets in a lift when they're about to fight and then they open it and there's just two people covered in blood and one guy walking out. Had that in my head every time someone goes after me, or like some rain outside. You're like,
Yes.
yep.
Silence is golden. Like
We
people
all
don't
saw it.
appreciate like silences.
Yeah,
There's
so-
nothing wrong with it, you know.
I'm gonna see. I do exactly both of these, but I'm not happy. And actually, this is another one. I'll go into that in a minute. But like, yeah, I hate myself for it, so I'm going to say no. I do it.
Mate, it is what it is, right? You say it, right? Whether you mean it or not, you still say it. I say it because it's one of these, it's a turn of phrase, it's an expression you use when you're in a situation you can't really change the outcome.
Yeah.
And you're going to find yourself in plenty of those in your life, so have a saying for occasions like that.
Mark Miller says, typical response to someone that misses out on a car they were looking at. It is what it is, man. Just it is what it is.
That's what I said about your parcel delivery. I'm like, you don't need to get excited. It'll be here when it gets here.
is what it
and if
is,
it doesn't
you're
come
right.
here, come on, mate. It is what it is. It'll be here tomorrow. Just relax, bro.
There's another one. This is another one about just speaking to people. This is apparently people are just
Just
getting
didn't speak to us
Yeah,
before
this is
10:30
what
in
I
the
said to
fucking
people
morning,
not to do.
right?
Just don't put in things that you hate.
People are now just getting in with their turns of phrases. So Danielle Miller
This is
doing-
good.
saying all right to someone in passing. I have no idea if you're just saying hello or if you're asking me if I'm okay.
Yeah.
Just don't. It makes me awkward.
Yeah. What is it? What's the answer?
see, like,
all right.
to me,
I'm all right.
All right is just it's a hello. All right, how's it going?
Right.
I actually pretty much all my text messages start with all right, AWRYT. All right.
So, but if someone says all right, do I have to say I'm all right, or do I have to say
you
oh
can just
well?
say-
If someone
bit
says
constipated.
you all right?
Am I all right?
That's a question.
But
Okay.
it depends. If I'm going past someone, I say all right. That's just an acknowledgement of them passing by me. But if I'm speaking to someone, all right, how's it going?
Then
All
you
right,
go,
all right is just hello to
Probably
me.
wouldn't say it to a bird, like, I wouldn't walk past a bird and be like,
All right,
right.
no.
all right.
Oh, you would. All right, hen.
I put in more effort.
That's
than
kind of dirty. To be like, all right.
All right, all right.
Then she shuts you down and you go, ugh, here's what it is.
That's
good.
Thanks.
I'm going to say bro because I do that as well. I say all right. It's a good, but to me it's a greeting.
Yeah, I
I'm
say.
not asking how they're doing. It's just all right.
Yeah.
A wee head nod.
I'll say all right, but then I'll say what's up. But then that's the thing. I'm not expecting them to tell me what's up. I'm just expecting them to say.
You're
all right.
actively hoping they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Please do not.
I remember though once, and I'm not going to name names, but I will once we finish recording.
Okay.
Sorry, he doesn't work there anymore. But
Work where?
I remember a guy who used to work there, and I said to him one day, "I was like, all right, man, how's it going?" Just like, one of those things you say in the past, all right, man, how's it going? And he's like, yeah, sound mate, cool. And he's like, yeah, not so good, mate. The wife's just left me. And I was like, why the fuck would you tell me that, man?
He's looking for help, man.
I fucking hate an overshare because then you're just like, it's what it is. You know what I mean? It's just horrible. I hate oversharing.
Yeah.
It makes me super uncomfortable because I try not to tell anyone any of my business.
But that's somebody taking it literally, innit? Like somebody's like, all right, mate, how's it going? You're like, yeah, sound, mate, you're good. Yeah, sound. Do you know what I mean?
Realise I'm not actually interested in how you are.
Yeah,
I'm just going through the social
Yeah, it's like
norms.
somebody says, all right, man, how's it going? You might say, well, just got the house repossessed, gambling debts piling up, lost the
That's
car,
the class
missus has
again.
walked out.
When everyone, and anytime someone asks me how I'm doing and they actually want an answer, I always say good, very good. Because nobody wants to hear anything else other than that.
Yeah.
Tell them that I'm good, I'm great. Well, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Braw. Braw's all round.
I brought for those comments that are on the thing. I don't think they want us to say broad to them now. Oh, wait, you're talking about saying all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
okay,
it
all right.
specifically just on the passing,
I think she said in passing.
not as a greeting.
No, well, that's to me. If you do it in passing, that's just an acknowledgement.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go broad for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lazy, but I'll go broad because I'm lazy.
Yeah, I'll say bra.
But see, when you work in a place like I've worked in that place for over a decade now, so I know a lot of people.
Scottish Power, yes.
Does that just make your heart break a little bit inside when you say that?
My arse clenched real tight when I said it. Yeah.
Wait till you say 20
next
years.
week we got PJ Macfarlane of Night and Day podcast. Shout out to PJ and Alana. But PJ commented, so French fries dipped in anything other than ketchup. Not a fan of anything other than ketchup on my fries is a no from me. Do like a wee McDonald's fry and a chocolate milkshake.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Salt and sweet, telling you.
Wendy's shake.
You dip the fry in.
And the milkshake.
Oh,
Very
Try
good.
it. Change your life. Change your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah.
If those fries are no dripping in barbecue sauce on my nugget meal, there's going to be questions asked.
Reaping high.
My dad gets like physically upset when he sees someone eating chips and mayo.
We
He
had
reckons it's a hell-worthy sin.
we had pizza today, and my daughter's like, "Can we get ketchup and mayonnaise?" I was like, "No, you're not eating ketchup and mayonnaise with pizza in my home.
But you
You're
dip
not
the
doing
crust in
that."
it.
That's what
No,
the
no,
man.
Are you one of
absolutely
these
not.
savages that chucks out the garlic dip when you get a Domino's?
No, Domino's is different. I don't eat Domino's. I try
I'll
not to eat
see
it.
myself
But,
out.
I try not
Like,
to
you've got something to dip your crust in, man.
dip it in your mouth and chew it. That's what you dip it in.
Nah, man, you've
fuck,
got to
man.
have a dip.
it's
You've got to have a
interesting.
dip. Yeah,
Interesting.
you've got to have a dip for the
Disgusting.
crust.
I'm going to
You go in the cunt pile. All it is.
I do like a ketchup on my fries, but like I'm partial to a wee barbecue sauce or a wee garlic mayo or a peri peri sauce, peri peri mayonnaise.
Mark Miller says gravy, curry, garlic mayo. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say bra. I'm going to say bra for dipping it in shit.
Wait, what was the question again? I'm dazing out.
Dipping it in anything other than ketchup.
Oh, okay. I'll go broth for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't kill you for anything else.
Yeah, bra.
Yeah.
What else we got here today?
Mom, we got another show coming up in a couple of days, so we'll save us some of those.
Yeah, I'll go this last one because this is one I feel quite passionate about. Radiohead,
Oh, okay.
massively overrated.
Ooh, interesting.
Interesting. I can. They've got some really good songs, but like for me, I just don't get it. I watched some of their Glastonbury set a few years ago, and I just found it as the most self-indulgent drivel. And I have tried to get through their albums a fair few times. And
What do they sing? I don't even know what they sing.
they sing "Creep" and "I'm a Creep."
Oh, yeah, I've had that.
They've got fucking breaks tunes, but for me, it's just a band that I've never clicked with. It's just never done it for me at all. Discuss.
Andy Mac.
Well, they've got their place in it. I mean, I'm one of these guys. I remember when they were getting big around about 97, 98. I went to see them on the OK Computer Tour. Fucking one of the best gigs I've ever been in my life. A timeless classic of an album. And then it all suddenly went a wee bit downhill for me after that. But I can still look at them and say, yeah, they've got their place. I understand why they're popular. Their first 3 albums are really, really important milestones in British alternative and indie music. I genuinely believe that.
Well, it's maybe
No matter
coming
what
what they've
they've
done
done
to try
since.
it again, but like
Particularly OK Computer. That
I feel like I feel like now as well, people who like them now must be trying really hard because the stuff that I've
yeah,
heard.
but how many bands have you gotten into where they've already released, 10 albums over the years, and you get into something now and you go, well, that's an alright song, and then what you discover is it was all the early stuff that you've never heard that's maybe the shit you're into.
I had that with Green Day. I was at an age when American Idiot came out and like got obsessed with that. Vicky got crazy obsessed with Green Day and then discovered all the early Green Day stuff because they'd been going since the 90s as well, and way before
Dookie
that.
was like Dookie in
Dookie,
94.
yeah.
Nimrod and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good punk. Radiohead. There you go. Like, whilst I definitely see myself as an eclectic guy, I've never actually I've never sat down and really given Radiohead much of a listen. I agree with you that even I know like there is an importance, just in the same way that with Nirvana or that kind of just alternative, just doing something different. You know, there is an importance there. I get why people might get a bit jaded by it though, because it does. You say that about anyway. You say that about David Bowie. Sometimes you know Bowie went into phases, and people were like, what's he doing?" Yeah, totally.
I'm not a fan of much past his.
But there's so many people that would consider some of Bowie's work like really important and influential. But
I do, but you know, it's one of those things that I sit there and go, yeah, this is not really my cup
totally.
of tea, man.
Well,
I always
exactly.
like the song
Past,
Aladdin
like,
Sane.
Always like past the 70s for Bowie, when he went a bit more electronic. That's where I kind of switch off from Bowie.
Sure. Let's dance.
I suppose.
Yeah, that's only a good song. Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing on.
Yes, at the very end. Yeah.
I don't know if I can be
Another time. Yeah.
It takes a lot to forgive him for dancing in the streets with Mick Jagger.
Have you please tell me seen the video when they removed the audio?
Okay, so weird.
Remove the audio.
Oh, so they take the music video Dancing Street with David Bowie and Mick Jagger.
All right.
They remove the actual like soundtrack and they put in as if there had been like a Foley artist there on the day recording them like breathing and like you know. So there's the moments when they're like right up, like you know, looking at it and they're like. You know, and they put all of that in, and there's no music, and it's like 3.5. It's
almost like a shred to an extent.
Yes,
but it's kind of not a shred. It kind of is, but it is. It's an awesome video. You should check it out.
So
it's very funny. Very funny.
I'm going to say no for Radiohead. For me, is
there any in the middle for Braw or Naw? There's nothing. No, you have really.
No,
okay.
No fence sitters on here.
From like a point of view of me enjoying their music, I don't. So it's a no from me. I like a couple of their tracks, but for me, it's not.
This section's about being honest. It's about saying what you think, man. Then it just be like, because everybody else says they like it, you have to go with it. I'm going to say Braw, even though I don't really listen to them that much anymore. So
I'm going to say no because I have no clue who they are. I know who they are.
I'll say Braw. I'll say Braw because I know for a fact, 'cause I've watched a lot of videos on like their guitarists and stuff like that. The musicianship is spectacular.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
I don't doubt their cultural importance, but from a personal perspective, it's just never clicked with me at all.
Yeah, it's fair.
To the point where I've ended up getting irritated.
That's not good.
That one's tied. So what was the listener saying? They said it was.
They didn't say actually.
Johnny Allen. It was Johnny Allen guy I work with. I don't think he actually commented. So Johnny.
This one's in the air.
Usually we go with the guests vote if it's a tie, do we not? So that they would then go in the Brawl of Fame.
That works for me because I'm saying Braw. So
let's do one more.
One
and
more.
Then we'll move on.
Let's have a look here.
Anything good?
This one's from PJ Macfarlane. We'll just pull it back into Scottish one. This is a musical one as well. Drum and pipes bands, Braw or Naw. I've seen a few Highland Games events, and the highlight is the marching bands competition. Love me some bagpipes and drums. Total Braw from me. I'm not. I'm going to say Braw because it needs to be good. I've seen a million pipe bands in my life, and sometimes you're just like, "Yep, that's another pipe band playing a tuneless number on the bagpipes." But then every now and again you'll get one where the drums are right in sync, and the bagpipes is playing something a little bit different. And like the whole spectacle of it as well, like the marching and like this, the bit even where the bass drums are just swinging the fucking their sticks around. Just if it looks good, so I'm going to say Braw.
Okay.
Andy Mac, dropping the controversial.
Yeah, listen.
one.
Well, I mean, it's like it's one of these things. I think there's no really much differentiating between any of the songs that are performed at these things. They could all be pretty much. I always think the same when I listen to Take the Floor on BBC Scotland.
Oh, okay.
I think they've been playing the same six records for about 20 years, man. No, I don't know. Listen, it's cultural. Yeah, it's part of my heritage and that, but I'm going to actually say no, it's not something I particularly enjoy that much. The bagpipes are a fucking awful instrument. They really are. They're not the best. I'll be honest. I'm going to say I don't find it that enjoyable, but it's part of my culture and my heritage. I'm still going to say no.
All right.
Fair.
Nice. Well, that was. Oh yeah, Christopher. Fucking hell, man.
Right.
And me.
Apologies. And Mike, sorry.
I would say for that specific thing, the drums, I'd say no because the one that everyone goes for now is the Chili Pipers. And they've put this brand out, and they're great. They are, each musician. I actually know one of the guys that's in, because there's not many people know. There's about 10 of them.
Yeah.
so they can be playing in like Madrid and Edinburgh on the same night. You know, just so they can just put them out and they just chop and change. We need a drummer here, whatever. You know. And they're amazing musicians, but yeah, like, oh, good. Oh, here's them doing Avicii. Great. You know, like, I've got no time for that. But pipes, there's a local guy called Ross Ainsley, who was taught by a guy called Gordon Duncan, who totally revolutionised the bagpipes. He found notes on bagpipes that folk didn't think that you could actually play. And he famously came out with he did a cover of Thunderstruck by AC/DC on the pipes.
Is that Gordy's old band?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it changed bagpipes. It was like, oh, there's
This can be done.
This is not just take the floor. This is not just, you know.
Yeah, because I was saying as well, just that I said, bro, I fucking hate Kayleys.
Really?
I like a
Love a
Kaylee.
Ceilidh. Love a Ceilidh.
Burn some calories in a Kaylee.
Yeah.
It drives Megan up the wall because her and her pals all love a Kaylee and like, do you want to go to this Kaylee? And I'm like, I'd rather stab myself in the balls.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh man, I've been to a couple of Highland weddings where like they treat it seriously. Like you get a room full of like hardened strip the willowers. You've got to be on your game or you are on that floor.
Literally, it's a point of contention. Like we've talked, like all of our mates are getting married, so we've talked about wedding stuff and that. And I was like, there'll be no Kaylee music at our wedding. She's like, well, I was like, I will fucking leave. I will leave my own wedding. But so, would you say Braw or Naw?
So I would say Kayleys.
Not to Kayleys.
The point I was making was that like there's some great stuff with bagpipes, and the guy Ross Ainsley that learnt from Gordon Duncan, like he has done modern stuff. He's put modern instrumentation underneath his bagpipe playing, and it's very tasteful and it's very good. But then you have this other side of it where it is just
it's appealing to that shortbread.
Oh look, yes, yeah.
tourist,
Oh look
yeah.
at this. It's something that I know, but it's on the bagpipes. No, look, we're all dancing and
That could be the episode title.
So I'd say no.
Shortbread tin.
Shortbread tin, yeah. So you're saying no?
I'd say no for that.
All right, I'll say bro. I like that. How come you Scottish people don't like Scottish shit? It seems
Look,
like
I do, but it's like, I don't see when I'm like, this is for me, when I'm out or if I'm at a wedding.
Yeah.
I want to dance myself. I don't want to get up and have to fucking strip the willow with fucking Auntie Betty with her mustache reeking of fucking Jameson's. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Sounds like a good time to me, Betty. Give me a call.
The thing is, it's like I love a band at a wedding. I love a DJ at a wedding. Either or, but as soon as the Kaylee music kicks in, it's the same. Like I wonder this. I was at my cousin's wedding a few years ago, and obviously Loch Lomond came on at the end, and I fucking hate Loch Lomond with a passion. So I snuck out for a fag, like I always do when this comes on at weddings. Stand there, and it was like it was my cousin's wedding. So out comes my mum. I was like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I fucking hate Loch Lomond."
Bring it in.
Yeah, I was like, "Cheers, mum." Yeah. Right, so that was Braw or Naw for this session.
Braw on a spirited round.
There was a spirited
Braw or Naw.
good discussion. So should we jump into a little bit of what we've been watching?
What have we been watching?
Listening to this week.
What have you been watching or listening to this week?
Well, this is what you've been watching and listening to this week. So Michael's going to kick us off with what he's been up to.
Yeah, so I said I was on a Kanye West ban for a while, but he was on David Letterman's new show
Saw that,
on Netflix.
Is that my next guest?
Yeah, and it was pretty good. I mean, he seemed pretty normal. Well, not as normal as Kanye West could be. Yeah, and he talks about that. I kind of felt bad. I kind of walked away from that feeling bad for him a bit, just because he's acknowledging he does have some mental issues now, and he does want help.
I try and lay off. I mean, he's an idiot, and I think he's one of these people that's been surrounded by yes men. But again, I don't think he's very mentally well.
No, he's not.
So I also just doesn't. Did you see he does the Kanye's choir?
Yeah,
a video popped up on my timeline of him as choir doing Soul to Soul Back to Life.
No.
Fucker, man.
Was it good?
Oh, so I'll play it afterwards. It was fucking sensational. Sorry, continue.
I watched 2.5 of the 3 of the Black Mirrors.
I've only seen the Miley Cyrus one.
Oh, okay. We're gonna, because one of them is a little racy. We'll get into that into the.
What is that? Which one?
The video game one. we're gonna get into that because it's a good kind of brain fuck a little bit. So we'll talk about that in the Patreon. But from the two that I saw the video game one. I saw the one with the guy that kidnapped somebody. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there will be spoilers in the Patreon.
I don't, because I've not seen it. You can't spoil it.
Oh fuck!
I have to hold on to that until Thursday.
I'm
going to watch them tonight, so just give me a fucking break.
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah?
I like them. I like Black Mirror.
I went on a bit of a binge recently.
Yeah?
And just, because I've always watched them sporadically. Because I hadn't seen them, but Megan had seen them all, so I watched the ones on her recommendation, and then recently I kind of went into them just by myself. And there's something about the pure bleakness of it that's quite addictive.
Yeah.
Because I think we've talked about before, like a lot of stuff, they get the happy ending. So it's quite, not nice, but it's quite engaging to know how you feel when there's not a happy ending, or it is super bleak, or what you're watching is just fucking like.
I thought you meant bleak visually, because I find that, and I think that they do that purposely to kind of make it seem like no one is paying attention to what's around them because they're looking in that black mirror. So when you look in the backgrounds, it's just very, I mean, we see it every day here in Scotland, but in the places that they shoot it at, it may just be like, it just seems like very dim and dreich, as you guys would say.
There's the one I watched just recently is called Shut Up and Dance, about the guy who gets blackmailed with a video of himself ripping the heat off it.
Yes.
And the whole is everyone going to watch it? Or do you watch Black Mirror?
Never seen it.
Well, spoilers, just anyone. So the whole time, like, he basically, the people who are blackmailing him make him do all this creepy shit. And you kind of feel sorry for this really shy, retiring kid. And then right at the end, you find out that he's a pedo. That's the shit that he was watching when he was videoing. You're just like, just flips it on its head. And it is just bleak as fuck, but the acting's brilliant, the storytelling's brilliant. Like, Charlie Brooker's a fucking genius. Like, not all the episodes are winners, but
most of them are, I would
all
say.
of them are just interesting stories.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll give it a 7.
I thought Miley Cyrus was really good in the one that I watched.
I've only seen half of that one, but from what I've seen, it was pretty good.
Some time for Miley.
And
else you
also, I listened to Future's new album. It was terrible.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's called Save Me, and it quite sounds like he needs to be saved, like, because he's on a lot of drugs and his family's being taken away from him, whatever. But it's just not a really good album.
Can I get a rating, please?
3.
Generous. Generous
It's
for
poor.
Future.
It is.
I've heard
poor.
bits and bobs of it. I always thought he was just. I never understood what's wrong with his voice.
It's auto-tune.
Well, no, I know it's auto-tune, but no, it's like the way he speaks. He's like,
Oh, that's lean. Whatever the fuck he was
yeah,
drinking.
he
But
sounds
now they're
absolutely
saying,
fucked, man.
yeah, he's just. It's. I never really. He has like 3 good songs. Like, I never really understood the big thing about Future, but
I think I was listening to him. See,
The kids
his
like him.
mask off.
yeah.
That's a good tune. I like
Yeah.
that one.
That's good, but because of the sample that they use, the sample sucks. Sounds like a fucking video game, you know?
Yeah.
I like a flute sample. Good hip hop breaks with a well dug out bit of flute.
Yeah.
But
some of his-
flute. Yeah.
Honestly, so many classic beats made over the years with flutes holding it
Look
down, man.
J5, improvise.
Yeah. So many great flute samples over the years. Anyway, that could be a whole 2 hours on its own.
Got anything else there, Mikey Boy?
No, go ahead. Crack on.
I finished watching Chernobyl.
What do you think?
We've been thinking about watching that. It's a
It's
good time.
fucking. It's so good, man. Like, I just thought the casting was sensational.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize until there's a lot of articles on there that will show the side by side of the characters that you see and the people that've got to play them.
Wow.
There was a whole thread on Twitter, which I was about to panic that was going to ruin the whole thing for me, but it was someone who knew what it was like to grow up in the Soviet Ukraine at the time. And apparently, like, the design, the way it looked, the way people spoke was bang on. Wow. Like, it was mental to see how monumentally fucking wrong it went.
It's crazy.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Wow,
Like,
right, yeah.
just to see, and the bit that got me is like the official deaths toll is still only 37. That's all. That's the Soviets are sticking to that only 37 people died as a result of what happened.
What do you think about it becoming a tourist destination now?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a few of these package holidays.
It's been like that for a while. A mate of mine, Ross, when he was studying up at Perth College, they'd done a field trip to Pripyat. Because obviously just the effects of an abandoned place and the acoustics and things like that. So
cool.
I'd be quite interested to see it. Do you know what I mean? Just to sort of see.
Ross went to study the archaeoacoustical properties of certain environments within Chernobyl. Really fascinating subject to focus your research on. So
Why would that differ anyway? Like, because of what happened? I don't want. How would that affect any?
I don't know. I never read his research paper,
okay.
mate. I just
just-
know he went out there to
I think it's the same
do
reason.
impulse responses, basically. So that means going into environments like this room and popping a balloon or firing a starting pistol and then recording that, and what you're capturing is the explosion of the gun or the balloon.
Yeah.
And then capturing the decay of that as well. So then you could make a virtual, essentially a virtual space. So if I wanted to make a reverb type that was based on an old oil can out in Ukraine, if I take an impulse response of it, I can make and replicate a reverb of you in that environment. Does that make sense? Like trying to break it down and
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I think as well, like with the Coming to Tours destination, it's like places of historical significance. Like people go and see Auschwitz when they go.
Yeah,
around,
that's
you know
the
what
first
I mean?
thing I thought,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? So it's that type of thing, is like being able to actually see where this, like, there's one thing that's happened. This when the first time it really went first and only time it went catastrophically wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and people at the time, like, spoilers I suppose, but like the way that they only had this one guy, or this one main guy, who sort of really understood at the time how bad this was, because people didn't understand how, if it did go wrong, how wrong it could go.
The ramifications
and, like,
of it, yeah.
The cancer spike around the world in '86 can be tied back to that. There's even rumblings that people born in '86 may have been affected by this, as far as the UK.
That's
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I remember my mum telling me, she's saying when it happened, that everybody just started buying powdered milk. Yeah, because you didn't want to buy milk or anything like that, even in this country, because of the fallout that would be carried throughout the atmosphere.
Well, there's like
That's true,
the
man.
bit that goes on when they realise that it could start to go into the ground and the water supply, which was used by
Everyone,
500,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's harrowing to
shit.
watch. Like, there's bits where they got the firefighters into hospital and they had to take all their gear off.
Yeah.
That stuff is still in the basement of the hospital because it's too radioactive
Can't touch it, yeah.
to go near.
It was crazy that, in spoilers, anyone who hasn't watched it, but when the lady goes into the hospital to see her husband, who's a firefighter, she was pregnant. And they were like, "We told you not to come in here.
shut
Like,
up.
why
Yeah.
are you in here?"
That bitch fucking annoyed me. But it was yeah. So I'm going to give that a solid 9 bananas, because it was just.
Ooh, high
The thing
praise.
is, it was only 6 episodes. It didn't glorify it. It didn't. It was all true.
Yeah.
The one thing they changed was, instead of the 40 scientists that they had working on a solution, they put that all into one character, because they couldn't obviously write for 40 people. So the only non-fiction character is this woman, and she is the scientist, and she's representative of all the scientists that helped the main guy.
Yeah.
But the rest of these characters are bang on. And it's like, obviously the Soviet Union is probably renowned for not telling shit, but do you know what I mean? This is probably the best version of the truth that anyone's going to get, and it was amazing to watch. Like, so
I've heard reports, actually, folks saying it was just a glorified extension of one that BBC had produced around about 5 or 6 years ago, and that everything you needed to know was actually in the BBC one. This one had all been drawn out and
But was I watched
tarted
dramatised.
dramatised for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
you
well, it's
know.
like, it's
Right, just
it has
want to
be
throw that out there.
engaging,
It was
but,
highlighting.
I thought it was brilliant. I listened to Logic's new album, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
What do you think?
Oh, fucking brilliant! I'm
You like Logic, yeah.
Logic has just come out of nowhere for me. So I'm going to give that a solid 7.5. I've only listened to it once. I'm trying to wheel it in, because you know when something's brand new, you're like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
So bit of Logic, and that's it. One last thing. I listened to the Empire Film Podcast that had Marcus and McFeely and the what's the boys that directed Endgame? The brothers.
The Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers.
Yeah.
It was an interview with them two, and the script developers as well, and that was really interesting. Just because I love those films so much, it was quite interesting to hear the creative process and find out how far back they decided the fate of these characters. Like the idea board was decided as far back as 2015. which I blew my mind that these people have been sitting on this for fucking 4 years before it hit. Do you know what I mean? So that was really well worth a listen.
Can I just go back? I forgot one thing. It was because it wasn't a TV show. It was something I saw on Twitter. It's called Actors on Actors. It's a porn movie. No, it's Don Cheadle interviewing Sacha Baron Cohen. Well, they're interviewing each other, kind of, for Variety.
Love Don
And-
Cheadle. He played Miles Davis in the biopic.
Oh, did he?
He bankrolled. He wanted that movie to get. Nobody would like bankroll it, so he did a fundraiser.
Did it? Oh, that's good.
And he plays him. It's a very, very good movie.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Nice.
But he just asked Sacha Baron Cohen about all the roles that he played, and just quickly, he tells a story about for his most recent show. I think it's called We Are America or This Is America, and he sits down with who's the old vice president, Bush's vice president, not Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Sits down with Dick Cheney, and he's dressed up in all this shit and all this makeup, and he's playing like an Israeli kind of
Special ops
guy, yeah. So before he's getting all this makeup on, and he tells that guy who's mimicking, he's like, "Tell me everything that you know." And he says how that helped him out because when he sat down with Dick Cheney, he was like, you just feel how smart he is. And he's like, as soon as my ass hit the chair, he goes, "Don't roll anything yet." He goes, "Tell me your background." And he just said everything that the Israeli guy had told him about like an hour ago. And he was like, "Oh, all right, that's cool." It lucked out that way. And he said like all his crew that were filming everything, they were just kind of like, "Oh shit," because they didn't know that he had all this information. And they're filming, they're like, "Oh shit, he's gonna get him out of here." And he just started spewing all this stuff that he had heard about an hour ago, and it got him out of it. And it got him the interview.
On Sacha Baron
He's
Cohen
crazy.
are like next level. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
It's I'll post a link to it on the Facebook page. But it's I think it's about 20 minutes, so quick watch, but it's very good.
Okay. Chris, yourself?
We're always late to the game with a lot of things. Chris and I don't really watch TV as such. We just kind of will wait something on Netflix maybe. We just watched The Bodyguard.
I've still not finished it
I
yet.
haven't seen any of it. No.
It was because I'm really you might get it at work. I get a lot of work when there's people and all they talk about is kind of it's constant every day. Like, oh, I've been watching this, been watching that, and it gets a bit jarring sometimes. It puts me off wanting to see stuff sometimes. Because I'm like, oh, well, they go into so much detail, it kind of spoils it for me anyway. But anyway, they hadn't really talked about it, and I'm a big fan of your man, and I've forgotten his name now.
I know you mean the Scottish guy.
Yeah.
I know.
Richard someone. Anyway.
Richie.
Phenomenal. Like, really, really well done. Really highlights how easy it is to stereotype, how we, especially in the UK, I mean, it happens all over the world, but like, we do it really easily, you know. It's not really a spoiler. There's one of the aides to one of the politicians is a Muslim, and there's another aide that is kind of having to help the guy quite a lot. The guy keeps making mistakes, and the other guy, who's white and privileged, basically turns around to him at one point and just says, like, let's not beat around the bush as to why you're here. You're here because when you go on the camera standing next to her, like, you're appealing to a demographic. And he just then, you know, the door shuts, he's kind of left standing in the corridor like, oh, gee. And it's brutal, but it's true. And it's crazy, you know.
That's like when the Tories do something, they always wheel out the black Tory.
Yeah.
So it's just saying, look, I'm here too.
Well, we got one too. Come on.
How can they possibly be racist? I get to sit with them all the time.
Totally. It's crazy. Yeah, you're right. But so it was very, very clever. It's heightened drama and stuff like that, but it really touched really well on those kind of issues. I don't know. You could go into a whole discussion about all that kind of stuff.
That's another podcast for another time.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, Bodyguard for sure.
Would you give it out of 10 bananas?
I would give it. I'd give it an 8. I'd give it an 8.
Solid banana score.
And also a podcast that I
Called Monkey Sword Fight. Yeah, we know.
Yes.
Yeah. It was that was the one. It's called 30 Minutes to the Moon, produced by the BBC, and it is music by Hans Zimmer, which is crazy. Anything that man touches. There's a really cool thing in the composing world, which is called PZ, Post Zimmer. And it's like people refer to it, and it's a way that people compose music for film or trailers or these kind of things. And there's a way that it sounded before Hans Zimmer came on the scene, and there's a way that it sounds after. It's totally true. You'll know what I'm talking about, Andy. It's crazy.
Okay.
But it's great. The guy's influential.
I love
and
seeing Andy's face later when we have a musical guest on, because he's
Yeah.
like, finally, I don't have to talk to these two fucking idiots.
All right.
But the theme, but even that, like he must have. I don't know what he got paid to do this 90-second theme. It would be mental, but. He didn't. It's classic him. It's amazing. It's 90 seconds of pure amazing theme music, you know.
Yeah.
And it perfectly sets up the podcast where the guy looks into the 13 minutes leading up to them touching down on for the first moon landing, and observing everything, all the politics that went on behind like the whole space race, and. He himself worked at NASA, worked in Florida for years as a scientist, and he interviews. He doesn't get some of the big. But he interviews Michael Collins, who was the third astronaut who stayed up in the lunar module while Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin went down to the surface. He stayed in the kind of control the mothership. He interviews him, and you get to know individually the people that are in that room, and he's got all the archive of all the recordings of ground control talking to Apollo 11, and by episode 3, you know every voice that is like he goes into the real background of these people, who they were, and like the majority of the people that were in that room were like, I think the average age was like 28. Jesus. They were all just like young guys that didn't know what they were. This is new stuff. Like nobody.
This is uncharted territory.
Totally, and like these kids just didn't know what they were doing. But so it's really it's not finished yet. They're doing it like week by week. I think we're on episode 4 or 5. But yeah, 13 minutes to the moon. It's really, really immersive podcast. Like guy does a really good job.
Check that out.
Yeah.
It's a good work pod.
Yeah. And music, Sting.
Oh,
Okay.
The Lord Almighty. I'm a huge Sting fan. He recently released an album called My Songs, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think on it, because he's re-released basically. It's like a greatest hits album, but he has re-recorded all of the songs. It's not just a greatest hits. He has gone in and he's re-recorded, and some of them he does a perfect little paragraph. He explains like why he's done it basically, or how he's done it. Sorry, but it's kind of like some of them are very true to the original. Like he's really tried to make them sound like the original, because the guy's pushing 70 now.
He must be a fair age.
Like, but he's still you see him gigging now, man. He's still he's built, he's in shape. His voice is still amazing. But there's some songs that he has really tried to really update, really put them in a modern, contemporary context.
I was just going to ask you, was it a case of updating them, or do you think it was more of a case of them going back to the perhaps demo versions that they originally were, or the original versions is how they were?
Funnily enough,
they were
some
written?
of them, in a weird way, and I don't know how he's done it, he's actually dated them more. There's an amazing song called If You Love Somebody, Set Them Free, one of my favourite Sting songs. And on the album that he released that on, it's got a real timeless feel. It's a great mix. It's a great instrumentation arrangement. And the version that he's done on this new album, he adds in proper and it dates it. It instantly, there's something that then just makes it sound a bit dated, like kind of as if he's trying to say, what have I done this in the early 2000s? Or what have I done? It doesn't sound...
Yeah.
And it's the same with... He does Every Breath You Take. And there's something about the thing that makes Every Breath You Take special is because he's young when he did it. His voice is just amazing on it. Now he's just an old dude.
Yeah. I would always say it was Andy Summers' guitar playing that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Same with
riff
walking,
is the most,
same with Walking on the Moon.
I was just going to ask you, I've just pulled up the track list there.
Yeah. Walking on the Moon is one of my... I mean, that's
songs.
one of my... In my opinion, is one of the all-time great songs, because it's like you're walking on the moon. It's very clever, the song, but again, he's tried to do it, and because it may be just the age of his voice, I don't know,
It just doesn't quite
it
hold
doesn't
up.
quite hit the mark. But there's some on there that are really, really good, and I think I was discussing this with a mate of mine as to why he's done it, because it's not a cash grab, because he's Sting, he's minted. That's not an issue. I think what it is that there's a generation of kids now that do not know the impact that Sting has had as an artist.
You say
Legacy.
Sting, they probably
And
think
the
of the
legacy.
wrestler.
Ah, exactly.
Yeah.
If they even,
Yeah.
if they
No
even,
shit, man.
if
Yeah.
they
The guy
even
with the
think-
bat and the trench coat?
yeah.
He can sing.
Even if they even think about Sting, do you know what I mean? That's a fairly dated reference.
Yes,
for
yeah.
focus.
Two things with that. Apollo 13, another Tom Hanks movie. Did we mention that in the Tom Hanks thing?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
we did. All right.
Very briefly. Great movie.
Every breath you take. Have you watched The Sopranos?
No.
In season 3, they do a kind of a mix with Every Breath You Take and what's that? Doon 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 doon
Yeah,
doon.
it's
Your gun theme.
Yes, and they mix
Blues
that.
Brothers, yeah.
I look for it on the internet all the time. I think I haven't been able to
I know
find
what
it.
it is. It's from season 3, episode 1.
Where they're bugging the house.
2
Yeah.
seconds,
Really,
I'll
really
get
good
you.
mix of that. Highly recommend it. If I can find it, I'll look again. If I can find it, I'll put it on the Facebook page.
So what are you giving that out of 10?
So I would give it I'd give it a 6 because what he's tried, like I say, I think by putting some of these songs, like even just some of the songs, it's just the mix is a lot more what you would expect in a song nowadays. So it's very the drums are there, you know, the bass is high up because that's what people like, you know. His song Brand New Day, which is it's got Stevie Wonder playing harmonica on it. It's amazing. But this My Songs version is, as I say, it's bass heavy, it's drum heavy, so that if you were to put that on in a club, it's gonna cut through the same way that modern tracks do. You put the original Brand New Day on, it's not gonna, it's just gonna get lost. And I think it's a lot of the case of that. So it's him trying to, I guess, connect with kind of
Another generation.
people that are maybe they're not lucky enough to, like their parents are maybe fans and let them listen to it, you know,
Yeah.
or have no idea who the Police are, you know,
Yeah.
or that kind of thing. So that's probably say I'd definitely recommend giving it a listen,
Yeah,
and then going and
Listen
going
to the
down,
originals.
going down
Originals,
and
yeah.
listening to Sting and listen to the original
Yeah.
stuff.
That's a
you
good
know?
idea.
So yeah,
Thank you, Andy. Andy just sent me the link.
Nice one. Well, what
It's a
was
classic episode that where the boiler breaks.
Yeah, and they're
then
bugging the
bug- and
house,
They're trying,
yeah.
they're trying to bug the basement because
love
everybody
that
goes
show.
downstairs to have the conversations.
we'll get Andy Mac. What you been up to this week, Sam?
Fucking hell, boys! I got notes here, innit? Right. No, not a lot. Been listening to a bit of Dat Kid's new album produced by Leaf Dog. Yes, it's good. Dat Kid's a good MC. Leaf Dog. Anybody who knows who he is might think this is a bad thing to say, but I think he's massively overrated. Anyway, moving on. Ocean Wisdom. Been listening to a bit of him. Been listening to some more Childish Gambino. Been listening to some of our friends, the Goat Boy.
Hey!
I've been running their 2 CDs in the car. I think I said this last week, but they really remind me of a band that I loved called Helmet. So if the boys are listening to this, then that's what they remind me of. King and the Sting podcast.
Hitting that still.
Yeah, still hitting that. Too many dudes and too many bros for me. Bro, this, oh, dude, oh, bro, don't touch me, bro.
I feel
It's
like
okay,
I
dude.
love, I feel like I love quite quickly with that because it was funny watching the two of them
It is
roast
funny.
each other, but like it goes a bit. I had the same issue with the fighter and the kid that after a while it's just a bit like chewing the
So-
same content, but.
Yeah, it's a bit bro dude heavy for me at times.
Dude heavy.
But yeah,
That's
there's
the episode title.
Dude heavy?
dude, heavy.
UFC 238 the weekend, which was outrageously good, man. Henry Cejudo was a 2-weight world champion.
Champ.
Valentino Shevchenko murked this bird with one of the sickest head kick
Seen
KOs. Yo, the fucking sound when her shin hit her in the head, man. It's just like, oof. And then my boy, Tony fucking Ferguson. Just
Soft
went-
cowboy, didn't he?
Well, Cowboy blew his nose, innit? So he had his nose broken and then he went back to his corner, but he stupidly went like that, tried to clear his nose. Because of that, then all the air gets up the passage there and basically
One of his eyes.
inflated his eye and shut his eye.
No.
Stupid thing to do. You don't... For a guy,
I guess
a
is
veteran...
but do you think it's just like an instinct thing? Must like like a bodily instinct that you need to do that?
No, that's what you're always taught as a fighter. You don't blow your nose for that reason because then that way...
Well, he said it himself, like, because he ended up apologising to Tony Ferguson. Like, I'm sorry about this.
man?
Rookie mistake.
So, yeah, that was a bit of a bummer, but my boy Tony Ferguson won through. Go and look at that guy's record. Go and look at the fucking killers that he's taken out in that division and tell me that guy doesn't deserve a title shot.
Big up Tony Ferguson.
So, yeah, that was that. What else have I been listening to? I can't really think on the fly just now. Obviously, I haven't watched fuck all because I don't watch TV. Played a bit of FIFA.
Of course, you know, getting packed.
Yeah, and today's actually the first day of. I'm not teaching anymore. That's me finished teaching for the year.
Nice.
Obviously, exams are all done. So yeah, classification and everything's all definitely confirmed. So I'm now on holiday. So I'm kind of a little
Golf.
bit of a loss. Yeah, I'm going to go and play some golf later this week. But I think I'm going to go and have like a week, maybe even 2 weeks, where I don't take on any sessions. I don't take on any work. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just going to have 2 weeks where I shut up,
You deserve that shit.
so to
son. You
speak.
do.
Shut up shop for a couple of weeks. Like you say, we're way to buy a new house, so we're about to build a new studio. So at the moment, you know, I'm not really in a great place to be doing a huge amount of sessions and that anyway. So I'm going to, that's what I'm doing. I'm selling this. That's why I'm selling this place. So there's a couple
Is
of
it
places.
sold?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
okay. I was gonna say. I was like, what did we
But
miss
yeah,
here?
no, but there was a guy who wanted to put an offer in, but his offer wasn't what I was expecting. And then when it came to the crunch, he decided to go and buy someplace else because they accepted his pissy, measly little offer. So I didn't get it set last week. But yeah, so I'm going to just have a couple of weeks. So I might watch some stuff.
Yeah, go back through the episodes and see what we've recommended.
There's a good chance I might log on to my mum's Netflix and go and have a fucking
We'll shoot
flick.
you over
Take it
some things
back.
to watch. All of us.
Well, do you know, I never finished watching that one, the guy that worked in the bookstore.
You?
The creepy stalker guy.
Yeah.
What do you mean, me?
You love that guy.
no, it's called you.
yeah.
Don't get defensive there, son.
Because I would have done it so much better than he did it, right? No. But no, that's pretty much it. I can't really think anything off the fly. Plus, we're fucking 2 hours, 10 minutes.
We've still got to do the Patreon shit.
We've got to get a Patreon in tonight, so I think
Right,
we better
we'll
wrap
wrap
this
this
shit
Shut
up.
up, B.
Right, thank you again to our wonderful guest, Chris Small. Do you want to shout out your social medias and such?
Yeah, just at Chris Small Music on all of your things: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff.
We will share all the links out on the page.
do.
Thank you to this week's sponsor again, Stevie Mac's Skate School. Hit up Stevie Mac's Skate School on the old pus jotter.
The push jotter, yeah. Get your kids skating. It's the weather. It was nice
It's
today.
coming
Most
into
of
it.
today.
It's coming into it. I am on Twitter at Wagwan Patrice. We are on Facebook, Podbean, and Spotify, Monkey Sword Fight Podcast.
Yeah, search for Monkey Sword Fight on all platforms. I am at _M_dots.
The show's on Twitter, MSF_podcast.
That's
Yes.
correct, yes.
And you can find me on Twitter at Macapella.
Once again, thank you very much for listening. Thank you again to Chris.
Cheers.
Take care. Peace.